Chapter 227. The Way to Bring Freak Back to Life 4. Schwer, you're hugging me too tightly. You're going to strangle me. Relax, the little silver mink said with some difficulty. He didn't want to die again before he was revived. I'm sorry. I didn't do it on purpose. Lung Ruoxue relaxed her hands. She was relieved to see the little mink breathing more smoothly. Schwer, his injuries are too serious. That's why you thought he was dead. In fact, he can wake up as long as the frosty palm's poison is cured, the little silver mink explained. Really? How can I cure the poison? Lung Ruoxue asked anxiously. She didn't doubt what the little mink said at all. After all, even though everyone said that the Sioux family's frosty palm was incurable, there seemed to be many secret techniques in the inherited memories of beasts. So it was normal for the little mink to know. You need 1,000-year fire lotus. The little mink was a little hesitant. No matter which world fire lotuses were in, they were rare and precious, let alone a 1,000-year-old one. In fact, the reason why fire lotuses were difficult to find was mainly because of their stringent growing environment. I will think of a way to find 1,000-year fire lotus, Lung Ruoxue said resolutely. Since she now knew that Freak wasn't dead, she had to think of a way to save him. She said before that she wouldn't let Freak leave her. Little mink, thanks for telling me this information, Lung Ruoxue said gratefully as she hugged the little mink tightly. Schwer, fire lotuses love fire. It's possible to find traces of them in places with rich fire element or in volcanoes, the little silver mink reminded. Fire lotuses were heavenly treasures and earthly materials, and they were born from heaven and earth's spiritual energy. It was very possible that fire lotuses more than 1,000 years old had already developed intelligence and knew how to avoid danger, so they were not easy to find. They like fire? I'll ask the Phoenix King. Lung Ruoxue thought about it. The Phoenix clan also liked fire, so would the Phoenix clan have fire lotuses? Actions spoke louder than words. With this in mind, Lung Ruoxue immediately left the Heaven and Earth bracelet and greeted her grandfather before heading straight for Feng Zhan. After arriving at the Phoenix King's resting palace, Lung Ruoxue explained her purpose. Fire lotus? Feng Zhan frowned and pondered for a long time. Master, I am sure that there are no fire lotuses in the Phoenix clan. But there's an active volcano in our territory. There may be a fire lotus there, Feng Zhan guessed after thinking for a while. Although the Phoenix clan was of the fire attribute, they didn't know much about alchemy and artificing, so they were not too interested in these things. Really? Look then. Lung Ruoxue was about to leave when Feng Zhan stopped her. Master, don't be hasty. It's very dangerous there. I'll go with you after the master acknowledgement ceremony tomorrow, Feng Zhan said helplessly. Master is really impatient. Okay. Lung Ruoxue knew that she indeed needed a guide. Moreover, there were guardian beasts wherever spirit plants grew. It would be a waste not to use him since he was willing to be a fighter for her. Oh right, have you heard of essence restoration grass? Lung Ruoxue continued asking. Feng Zhan had lived for so long, so he should have heard of it, right? Essence restoration grass? What does Master want essence restoration grass for? Feng Zhan asked curiously. Although the Phoenix clan wasn't good at alchemy and artificing, their understanding of herbs and minerals was unparalleled. My brother is injured and needs a pill concocted from essence restoration grass, Lung Ruoxue explained simply. Essence restoration grass isn't something precious, but there aren't many in this world. Feng Zhan smiled gently with a mysterious expression. You know? Then tell me. Where can I find it? Lung Ruoxue hurriedly asked. She had always been worried about her brother's matter, and she had never forgotten it. The Dragon Clan should have some, Feng Zhan directly said, not beating around the bush. But that essence restoration grass. I'll go to the Dragon Clan the day after tomorrow, Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. She planned to visit the Phoenix Clan's underground volcano tomorrow. Then I'll go with Master. Feng Zhan's handsome face was full of cunning. The Dragon Clan. I have to teach that stinky dragon a lesson. Lung Ruoxue nodded in agreement. The next day, the Phoenix King led all his people to acknowledge Lung Ruoxue as their master formally in the Phoenix Clan's chamber hall. After the master acknowledgement ceremony, Feng Zhan brought Leng Ruoxue to the active volcano. It's so hot here. Leng Ruoxue felt the blazing heat before reaching the entrance of the volcano. It rushed at her face and grilled her body uncomfortably. Master, come closer to me, Feng Zhan said to Leng Ruoxue and used his spiritual power to protect her body. Much better. Leng Ruoxue felt much better, and her body was not as uncomfortable as before with Feng Zhan's protection. Although she also had fire attribute spiritual power, the temperature here was a little unbearable. Master, we can reach the interior of the volcano from here. Feng Zhan pointed at a small cave. Leng Ruoxue looked at the small cave. The entrance was very small, and only one person could enter each time. After the two of them entered the entrance, the space inside suddenly became spacious. Be careful. There are many poisonous bugs here, Feng Zhan whispered to Leng Ruoxue. Okay. Leng Ruoxue nodded and looked around carefully at the environment in front of her. The light was very dim, but she could still see clearly that the place closest to the entrance of the cave was very dry. The entire cave was dark red, and the stone walls and ground were covered with volcanic ash, which had already condensed into blocks because it had been so long. The two of them walked in carefully. The farther they went, the darker it became. At this moment, Feng Zhan lit a torch that illuminated the entire cave. Eha! Leng Ruoxue covered her mouth and threw up uncontrollably. It was so disgusting. The mountain walls were densely covered with red bugs that resembled spiders, making her hair stand on end. Charm! Leng Ruoxue quickly let Charm out and hugged him tightly. Master, don't be scared. Charm quickly comforted her and released his ice spiritual skill, freezing the entire mountain walls into thin ice. The temperature of the volcano immediately dropped significantly. Purple-eyed snow fox. Feng Zhan was surprised. He looked at the snow-white little fox in Leng Ruoxue's arms and felt somewhat uncomfortable. I'm also Master's beast, okay? Why doesn't she hug me? Chapter 228, The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Haopen, Fire Phoenix. Charm narrowed his beautiful purple eyes as he sized up Feng Zhan. Even though the status of purple-eyed snow foxes among beasts was inferior to that of phoenix races, it was still difficult to say who would emerge victorious if they really fought. Let's go in. Leng Ruoxue urged, ignoring the sparks flying between the two beasts. Master, follow me closely, Feng Zhan said softly as his gaze turned to Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue nodded and slowly walked behind Feng Zhan. After walking for about an hour, they finally arrived at the center of the volcano. Leng Ruoxue looked up at the scene in front of her with astonishment. It was really too spectacular. She saw fiery red magma slowly flowing on the walls of the mountain and finally gathered together and flowed into a natural pool. The magma in the pool was like boiling water, bubbling and gushing around non-stop. Master, this is the center of the volcano. If there is a fire lotus, it should be here, Feng Zhan explained. Fire lotuses liked to grow in places with the densest fire element. Let's look for one. Leng Ruoxue nodded. This area wasn't small, so she hoped she could find one. Then let's split up and search. Master, be careful, Feng Zhan said worriedly. Leng Ruoxue nodded and began looking around. Be careful. Suddenly, Feng Zhan's exclamation sounded from behind Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue instinctively turned her head and saw an ugly fiery red monster rushing at her. She was shocked, and Charm in her arms had already pounced at the monster. Feng Zhan hurriedly walked to Leng Ruoxue's side and asked with concern, Master, are you all right? I'm fine, Leng Ruoxue said calmly. She was just shocked. After all, no woman would like something so ugly. What is this? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. The monster-fighting Charm had the exact same head and tail, and it was impossible to distinguish what was what. Its body was more than 10 meters long and as thick as a water bucket, and its skin was red but transparent. Moreover, she could vaguely see the blood vessels inside and the liquid flowing slowly in its body. It is a fire earth dragon. It is born in magma and eats magma, Feng Zhan explained to Leng Ruoxue while staring at the two beasts fighting. This fire-earth dragon actually had the strength of a holy beast. It was really unbelievable. Fire-earth dragons were known to be very weak and having very short lifespans. Could there have been some kind of mutation in this dragon? Are you sure? Leng Ruoxue looked at Feng Zhan doubtfully. Why was this fire-earth dragon so strong? Yes, it must have mutated. I'll go help that fox, Feng Zhan guessed and then flew toward the fire-earth dragon. What are you doing here? Charm, who was fighting with the fire-earth dragon, asked with slight displeasure when he saw Feng Zhan appear. I'm here to help. This is its territory. Even if you're stronger than it, you won't be able to show your superiority, Feng Zhan said very kindly as he released his southern spirit flame. Stop arguing. End this quickly. Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. Just as she finished speaking, she heard a painful howl coming from the fire-earth dragon. His body was on fire. Are you sure your fire is effective? Charm asked deliberately, not wanting to see this man being too smug. Of course, my fire isn't something that can be devoured by just anything, Feng Zhan said confidently. Even though fire-earth dragons fed on magma, they could also consume flames. But he was soon dumbfounded. How could this happen? Feng Zhan muttered in disbelief. His eyes had to be playing tricks on him because the mutated fire-earth dragon actually slowly absorbed the flames on its body, and its strength instantly increased by several levels. This fire-earth dragon is very strange. Charm was also in disbelief. None of the fire-earth dragons he knew were so strange. Moreover, fire-earth dragons couldn't be considered spirit beasts at all. Even at the holy beast level, they were unable to develop intelligence or speak. But this fire-earth dragon could actually devour the southern spirit flame, which was abnormal in itself. Let me try. After speaking, Leng Ruoxue directly released the heaven-level spiritual skill feather of the fire phoenix. This fire-earth dragon was not afraid of the Phoenix clan's southern spirit flame. Would it be afraid of her divine flame? Master's flame. Feng Zhan's thoughts raced as he looked at the small and cute feather. Although the entire feather was fiery red, on careful look, people would notice that the center of the flame feather was deep purple with the outermost edge golden. Moreover, the temperature was extremely high. Could this be the legendary? While Feng Zhan was thinking, the small fiery red feather had already begun to disintegrate into countless feathers and entangle the body of the fire-earth dragon. Immediately, painful howls resounded from the fire-earth dragon. I wonder if this fire-earth dragon can swallow my divine flame as well? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help thinking. She was really curious. Moreover, she specially added her natal divine flame into the feather of the flame phoenix. She hoped that this fire-earth dragon wouldn't disappoint her. Unfortunately, the fire-earth dragon still disappointed Leng Ruoxue because it only took 10 minutes before her divine flame burned it to ashes. What is this? Leng Ruoxue picked up a fiery red translucent crystal that resembled a diamond from the ashes. Master, this is something good. You're rich. Feng Zhan said excitedly. Heavens, how can this thing exist in this world? No wonder that fire-earth dragon mutated. With this thing around, all fire attribute spirit beasts would benefit greatly. What is this? Leng Ruoxue's face was full of question marks. Is this a diamond? This is a fire crystal core. Countless fire crystals can be produced as long as it is around. Fire crystals are very important to fire attribute cultivators, Feng Zhan explained simply. In his hometown, crystals of various attributes were used to assist cultivation. Master, it's enough to absorb spiritual energy from heaven and earth to cultivate in this dimension. But when you reach a higher dimension, you'll need crystals of various attributes to assist your cultivation. It's a little early to tell you all this now. You'll understand more when you go to a higher dimension, Feng Zhan continued. Chapter 229, The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao, 2, Leng Ruoxue nodded. She understood what Feng Zhan meant. The higher your level, the more heaven and earth spiritual energy you required. Therefore, various methods that could assist in cultivation would be very important at that time. Continue searching. Lung Ruoxue stored the fire crystal core in the heaven and earth bracelet and handed it to Qingju for safekeeping. After some thought, she released Quill. Quill, can you see with your X-ray vision in here? Lung Ruoxue asked. Master, heavenly materials and earthly treasures cannot be seen through, Quill said helplessly. Heavenly materials and earthly treasures had their own spirituality, and only those who were fated could obtain them. Oh, take your time then, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. In fact, she had already guessed this. Otherwise, Quill would have come out to help long ago. Master, we want to help too, Dazzle said from the bracelet. All right, all of you come out. Lung Ruoxue let out the other beasts. The more beasts there were, the more hands they would have. After coming out, they each occupied a spot and searched carefully. Master, there's a flower here, Rise suddenly called out. Where? Lung Ruoxue came to Rise's location and looked around. There was nothing except a large rock. Under the rock. Rise lowered his head and motioned Lung Ruoxue to look down. Lung Ruoxue squatted down and looked at the large rock under Rise. There was indeed a small flower in the gap under the rock, but it was still a small bud. The flower was entirely fiery red, slightly smaller than an adult's palm, and exuded a faint lotus fragrance. Found it! Lung Ruoxue shouted excitedly. Feng Zhan immediately came to Lung Ruoxue's side, glanced at the small fire lotus, and said honestly, Master, this isn't a 1,000-year-old fire lotus. I know, but it's better than nothing, Lung Ruoxue said happily. She had the heaven and earth bracelet, so as long as she could find a fire lotus, even if it was not 1,000 years old, she could plant it and make it into a 1,000-year-old fire lotus. That's true, Master. I'll dig it out, Feng Zhan volunteered. Okay. Lung Ruoxue gave her spot to Feng Zhan. Feng Zhan first moved the rock away, then squatted down and carefully dug out the fire lotus from the ground. He then handed it to Lung Ruoxue. After receiving the fire lotus, Lung Ruoxue directly sent it into the bracelet and handed it to Qingju. Let's go back. Lung Ruoxue knew that only a single heavenly material and earthly treasure would grow in a place, so there was no need to continue looking. Okay. Feng Zhan nodded, and the few beasts also jumped onto Lung Ruoxue's arms or shoulders. Following their original route, Lung Ruoxue, Feng Zhan, and the other beasts left the active volcano and returned to the Phoenix clan's territory. In the wooden house. Shuer, you're back. How was your harvest? Lung Qingtian asked curiously. He already knew that Freak had not really died, but a 1,000-year fire lotus was not easy to find. It's not bad. We found a small one. Lung Ruoxue was very satisfied. After all, fire lotuses were very difficult to find, so she didn't expect to find one in one try. That's good. Lung Qingtian was relieved. Yes, Grandpa. I'm a little tired. I'll go back to my room to rest first, Lung Ruoxue said. Go quickly. Lung Qinggan hurried his granddaughter upon hearing that she was tired. The moment Lung Ruoxue returned to her room, the little silver mink she left in the room jumped into her arms. Shuerbu, how could you abandon me? The little silver mink complained aggrievedly, tears welling up in his blue eyes. You were the one who said you don't like fire, Lung Ruoxue said speechlessly. Why is this little mink complaining first? But you can't leave me at home, the little silver mink said gloomily. He meant that Shuer could put him in the bracelet, but she actually directly left him in the room. Oh, I misunderstood. I thought you didn't want to go. Lung Ruoxue giggled. Actually, she did it on purpose since this little mink always threatened her with tears. You have to compensate me, the little silver mink said, pushing his luck. He was definitely going to take advantage of Shuer since she couldn't do anything to him anyway. How? Lung Ruoxue was speechless. Why is this little mink so similar to Freak? They're both unwilling to suffer any loss. I haven't thought about it yet. I'll tell you when I think of it, the little silver mink said slyly. All right. Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Then she entered the heaven and earth bracelet with the little mink in her arms. Big sister, I've already planted the fire lotus. I also placed the fire crystal core near it to accelerate its growth. Qingju hurriedly reported his labor results to Leng Ruoxue after seeing her enter. Qingju, you've worked hard. Leng Ruoxue picked up the beautiful and cute toddler. She actually felt a little guilty looking at Qingju's small arms and legs. Is this considered exploiting an underage child? Big sister, you're letting your imagination run wild again. Qingju, who knew what Leng Ruoxue was thinking, rolled his eyes, his pinkish face full of helplessness. He was an artifact spirit, not an underage child. Qingju, when will this fire lotus reach 1,000 years? Leng Ruoxue was embarrassed and quickly changed the topic. Big sister, it should take at least 100 years, adding on the accelerated time and the fire crystal core. Qingju said after thinking with a frown. 100 years? That long? Leng Ruoxue was depressed. Big sister, 100 years is fast. For cultivators, 100 years passes by in the blink of an eye, Qingju said nonchalantly. In his opinion, 100 years was really nothing. For example, his old master could enter seclusion for more than 100 years at a time. Yes, master. Hundreds of years will pass by every time we sleep, Rise couldn't help consoling. Big sister, you just have to cultivate diligently if you want it to grow into a 1,000-year fire lotus quickly. If you reach old master's level, not to mention 1,000 years, even 10,000 years will pass by in the blink of an eye, Qingju encouraged. He hoped that his big sister could improve her strength quickly so that he could help her even more. Chapter 230, The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao. 3. Cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxue's forehead. In the blink of an eye? Who takes years to blink? Big sister, I'm just making an analogy. Qingju pouted his pink lips in dissatisfaction. Big sister is really too bad. Qingju, can you not eavesdrop? Leng Ruoxue said awkwardly while wiping the cold sweat off her forehead. She didn't even have the right to privacy anymore. Big sister, there's no need to eavesdrop with soul contracts. I'm listening openly. Qingju covered his small mouth and smiled secretly. Hee, big sister is so cute. I'm going out first. Leng Ruoxue quickly fled after speaking. Boo. I'm such a failure as a master. Ha. Qingju and the beasts in the bracelet couldn't help laughing out loud. Leng Ruoxue got out of the heaven and earth bracelet, laid on her bed, and had a good night's sleep. When she woke up, it was already the next day. After leaving her room, Leng Ruoxue casually ate something, greeted her grandfather and the others, and went to look for Feng Zhan. As soon as she arrived at the door of his palace, she saw him waiting for her outside. Master! Feng Zhan dashed to Leng Ruoxue's side when he saw her. Let's go! Leng Ruoxue said impatiently. Feng Zhan nodded, and the two of them walked toward the entrance side by side. Big sister, wait for Inflame. Inflame's voice sounded behind them just as they reached the entrance. Leng Ruoxue stopped and looked helplessly at the little vermilion bird who had run into her arms. Inflame, big sister is going to do serious business. Stay in the clan obediently. Since coming to the Phoenix clan, Leng Ruoxue had rarely seen this naughty little guy. She heard that big sister Linger had put this little thing in solitary confinement. Why did he sneak out today? Little sister Ruoxue, I said I would accompany you to the Dragon clan. Why didn't you tell me you were going today? Feng Linger appeared in front of Leng Ruoxue with a displeased face and looked at her in annoyance. Leng Ruoxue looked at the handsome man beside Feng Linger and said teasingly, big sister, didn't I do it for your own good? Master. Feng Miao, Feng Linger's husband, bowed respectfully. You don't have to be so polite. My beasts are all very naughty, Leng Ruoxue said uncomfortably. That's right. Ruoxue is my little sister, Feng Linger echoed casually. You're going too? Feng Zhan stared at them. Royal father, I promised little sister Ruoxue that I would accompany her to save her friend. How can I go back on my word? Feng Linger hugged Feng Zhan's arm and acted coquettishly. Then let's go together. Leng Ruoxue glanced at Feng Zhan. Even though she hadn't spent much time with Feng Linger, She knew Feng Linger's fiery nature very well. Feng Miao would probably be the unlucky one if she didn't let this violent fire phoenix follow. Yes. I won't cause any trouble, Feng Linger promised like an obedient child. As if. Feng Zhan didn't believe her words at all. He threw down these 2 words coldly, turned around, and walked in the direction of the Dragon Clan. They chatted as they walked, and they soon arrived at Dragon Island. Sister Ruoxue, do you see that island? Those stinky dragons live there. Feng Linger pointed at a small island not far away. Lung Ruoxue looked in the direction Feng Linger pointed and saw a small island floating on the sea. Thick fog surrounded the island, so she could not see the surroundings clearly. But how many dragons could live on such a small island? How do we enter? Lung Ruoxue's beautiful eyes stared at Feng Zhan. This dragon island was surrounded by water on all sides, so they probably had to fly there. Master, don't worry. That old dragon will send a dragon to fetch us, Feng Zhan said mysteriously with a cunning face. Really? Lung Ruoxue was a little skeptical. She heard that dragons and phoenixes were enemies. Would the Dragon Clan really treat them as distinguished guests? Feng Zhan didn't answer Lung Ruoxue but expressed it directly with his actions. Feng Zhan quickly returned to his original form and flew around the sky of Dragon Island. After flying a few rounds, he spat out raging flames. Immediately, flames surged into the sky from the sea surrounding the island. Her forehead full of black lines, Lung Ruoxue looked at the incomparably enormous fire phoenix shining with colorful lights in the sky. Arrogant, too arrogant. This was the first time she had seen someone knock on another's door like this in her life. She really felt that she was too kind compared with Feng Zhan. After releasing the fire, Feng Zhan immediately transformed into a human and stood beside Lung Ruoxue with an innocent face. It was as if the arrogant fire phoenix just now had nothing to do with him. Who dares to cause trouble on Dragon Island? You must be tired of living. An angry roar sounded from Dragon Island, and several huge dragons flew out. Damn it! It's the Phoenix King. Go and report to the Dragon Emperor. The Phoenix King is here to cause trouble again. Several mighty dragons flew out and retreated in fright when they saw Feng Zhan standing on the beach. Holding back her smile, Lung Ruoxue looked Feng Zhan up and down again and again. No wonder Feng Zhan is so arrogant. It turns out that these dragons are like mice seeing a cat when they see him. Master, they are too cowardly. It's not my fault. Feng Zhan's expression was very innocent. Yes, little sister Ruoxue, the Dragon Clan is timid and afraid of trouble. They only know how to bully the weak and fear the strong, so we have to deal with them forcefully, Feng Linger explained. She had come to Dragon Island frequently to cause trouble and even beat up many dragons as she grew up, so she didn't care about those stinky dragons at all. Makes sense, Lung Ruoxue agreed helplessly. She had to beat up those who bullied the weak and were afraid of the strong. Perhaps she should find a few of them to beat up later? Damn Feng Zhan, why are you here again? An angry roar sounded deafeningly in the ears of Lung Ruoxue and the others. Then a gigantic purple-golden dragon flew out of Dragon Island. The dragon was about 100 meters long and covered in purple-golden scales. They were as beautiful and translucent as the finest amethysts. A pair of enormous wings stretched out, covering half the sky. Chapter 231, The Strange Encounter in the Volcano, Feng Zhan vs. Long Hao, 4. I missed you, so I came to see you, Feng Zhan said softly, as if their relationship was good. Bah, I don't miss you. You don't have to come see me, said disdainfully. Who would believe this sly old fox? Nothing good happened every time this fellow came. You're really too insincere. I came all the way here, but you didn't even invite us in, Feng Zhan complained lightly with an aggrieved expression on his face. Get lost. I didn't invite you. Long Hao roared furiously. He really couldn't stand Feng Zhan's damn appearance. He was clearly a bird, but why was he more cunning than a fox? He, please. I won't come if I'm invited. I like to come uninvited, Feng Zhan said provokingly. Damn it. Long Hao's anger soared, and he charged directly at Feng Zhan. Don't hurt my master, you stupid fat dragon. Feng Zhan returned to his original form and blocked Long Hao's path. Your master? Did I hear you right? Ha! The angry Long Hao was stunned for a moment before he started laughing hysterically. It was too funny. This bird, who was even more cunning than a fox, actually found a master for himself. Wasn't it just looking for trouble? How could there be freedom being ordered around all day? Laugh all you want. You will cry later. Feng Zhan smiled nonchalantly. He had already expected this stinky dragon's reaction, but he believed that it wouldn't be long before this stinky dragon cried. I won't cry. Feng Zhan, take this. Long Hao didn't forget the important matter after laughing enough. He still had to teach this bird a lesson. Come on. Feng Zhan lightly flapped his enormous wings and looked at Long Zhan with slight contempt. Soon, the bird and dragon tangled in a fight. Fiery red spiritual power flew everywhere, dazzling in the sky. The two colossi each used their flame and dragon breath to attack each other. Do they fight as soon as they meet? Lung Ruoxue asked helplessly as she looked at the dragon and phoenix in the sky. The dragon was on par with Feng Zhan, and it was difficult to determine the winner. Yes, they fight all the time. Master, you just have to get used to it, Feng Miao said nonchalantly. There had never been any peaceful coexistence between dragons and phoenixes, and they would always start fighting the moment they met. Oh, Inflame, quickly help me gather dragon scales. They are good materials for refining artifacts, Lung Ruoxue hurriedly ordered unscrupulously while looking at the dragon scales that fell to the sea and on the beach. Big sister, leave it to Inflame. Inflame flew to the surface of the sea excitedly and grabbed a dragon scale that was many times larger than his body with his two little claws. He flew back happily to Lung Ruoxue and handed the dragon scale to her. Inflame is so awesome. Thank you, Inflame. Lung Ruoxue caressed Inflame's cute little head and coaxed him. Little sister Ruoxue, I'll help too. Feng Linger directly returned to her original form and flew to the surface of the sea. She flapped her wings, and a strong gust of wind immediately blew on the sea surface, causing the dragon scales scattered on the sea surface to all roll onto the beach. Standing on the beach, Feng Miao and Inflame helped Lung Ruoxue pick up the dragon scales. Long Hao, who was engaged in a fierce battle with Feng Zhan in the sky, almost fainted from anger when he saw the situation on the ground. Seems like my master is very satisfied with your dragon scales. I'll pluck some for her. Feng Zhan said very calmly. After he spoke, his two sharp and hard claws directly grabbed onto Long Hao's thick dragon body. Suddenly, the dragon scales on Long Hao's body fell like snowflakes. You damn bird! I'm going to kill you! Long Hao roared furiously. He was utterly enraged by Feng Zhan and began clawing at his body. Dragon scales that were even larger than a wash basin and fiery red feathers glittering colorfully fell from the sky. Looking at the two beasts who had completely given up on using their skills and switched to brawling, Lung Ruoxue was at a loss for words. Little sister Ruoxue, Feng Linger seemed to want to say something, but she opened her mouth and closed it again in the end, leaving a helpless expression on her face. Stop it! Lung Ruoxue shouted at the dragon and phoenix in the sky. The two beasts, which were in the midst of intense scratching and biting, were startled by the sudden roar and instinctively stopped. Human, how dare you order this emperor around? Long Hao hollered in displeasure. He was already depressed enough that this woman dared to shout at him. You're not allowed to be so rude to my master. Feng Zhan's dark red phoenix eyes widened in warning. She's your master, not mine, Long Hao said disdainfully. No one dared to order him around in this world. Is that so? Feng Zhan smiled mysteriously, but he accidentally pulled on the wounds on his body and couldn't help taking a deep breath. It really hurts. Damn, this stinky dragon is really ruthless. Of course. Long Hao looked at Lung Ruoxue provocatively. Don't think I won't dare to beat you just because you're a dragon. Lung Ruoxue narrowed her beautiful eyes coldly. This old dragon really deserves a beating. Ha, ha. Long Hao laughed hysterically. Did I hear it right? This woman says she wants to beat me up. A mere spiritual supremacy like you? Long Hao asked mockingly while his huge dragon eyes sized Lung Ruoxue up from head to toe. You can try, Lung Ruoxue said expressionlessly. Such arrogance. I'm going to teach you a lesson today. Long Hao said fiercely. No human had ever dared to speak to him like this, much less beat him up. This woman really doesn't know what's good for her. Little sister Ruoxue, big sister will help you, Fenglinger quickly said. No need. Big sister can just be my audience, Lung Ruoxue said confidently. She had yet to fight anyone since she became a spiritual supremacy. She could start practicing with this dragon. One long means dragon in Chinese. Chapter 232, The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against, 1. Okay. Be careful, little sister Ruoxue. The dragon's breath is very powerful, Fenglinger reminded. Okay, got it. Lung Ruoxue nodded and released the wind attribute Heavenly Spiritual Skill Wings of the Wind. A huge pair of green energy wings immediately appeared on her back and carried her into the air to maintain the same height as Long Hao. Even if you can fly, you're not my match, Long Hao said arrogantly, not taking Lung Ruoxue seriously at all. Didn't anyone tell you not to underestimate your enemy? Lung Ruoxue said calmly. She turned her head slightly and looked at the wings behind her. This was her first time using the skill Wings of the Wind, and it looked to be effective. No, Long Hao answered truthfully. He knew that his race was very powerful before he was born. Therefore, he had never known what underestimating the enemy was. It could be said that he had never considered this concept of underestimating the enemy. He had always looked down on humans except for the beast races who had comparable strength to him. You will know today. Lung Ruoxue reminded him very kindly and then launched her first attack. Feather of the Fire Phoenix. A crisp voice sounded in everyone's ears, and a small fiery red feather flew toward Long Hao. What is this? Is it the feather of that bird? Ha! Long Hao laughed out loud as he looked at the feather flying toward him, which wasn't even as big as his claw. Laugh, continue laughing. You won't be able to laugh later, gloated Feng Zhan, who had tacitly stood to the side to watch the battle. He had seen the destructive power of the feather with his own eyes. Blazing Tree Silver Flower. Meteor Moon Slash. Lung Ruoxue unleashed two more skills in succession while Long Hao was getting carried away. Sparks flew in the sky and transformed into shooting stars that charged directly at Long Hao. The small and exquisite feather also began to split and slowly coiled around Long Hao. This is impossible. Long Hao was dumbfounded. Apart from the stinky bird's southern spirit flame, there were no flames that could hurt him. But this human woman's flames made him feel a piercing pain. Who could tell him what was going on? Master, although this stinky dragon has thick skin and flesh, he can't withstand being burned. Feng Zhan looked sympathetically at the dumbfounded Long Hao. Don't worry. I'm just teaching him a lesson. It won't take his life, Lung Ruoxue said understandingly. Well, that old dragon was indeed foolish. At first, he underestimated his enemy. But later on, he was scared by her flames and even forgot to attack. She liked opponents who didn't fight back like this. Who's worried about him? Feng Zhan reacted strongly and roared. He and that stinky dragon were mortal enemies, so he wouldn't care about him. I understand. I understand. Lung Ruoxue was very understanding. At the same time, she retracted her fire attribute spiritual power to prevent burning the old dragon ripe. You've become a roasted dragon now. Feng Zhan couldn't help laughing hysterically when he saw Long Hao's charred body. He was just short of rolling on the ground. Long Hao was on the brink of tears. He looked at his originally beautiful and dazzling scales that had turned black and felt regretful. Boo-hoo. He couldn't help sneaking peeks at Lung Ruoxue with his big, teary dragon eyes. Boo! This woman is really terrifying. She looks so petite and cute, but why is she so ruthless? Do you still want to fight? Oh, right, you didn't even have the chance to attack just now. Why don't I let you go first this time? Lung Ruoxue said with an absolutely fair appearance. I won't fight anymore, Long Hao said fearfully. This woman was a devil. He couldn't afford to offend her. Moreover, he believed that he definitely wouldn't be able to take advantage of this woman even if he attacked first. Boo-hoo, his body was still in pain, and he didn't want to suffer any more pain. This is for you. It won't hurt anymore after you eat it. Lung Ruoxue was very kind and threw Long Hao a pill. But she was impressed in her heart. This old dragon was quite sensible. After this lesson, he should be able to happily return Feng De to her later. Hopefully, her opening gambit was not in vain. Long Hao took the pill and threw it directly into his mouth. But the pill was too small and melted in his mouth, so he didn't taste it at all. He only felt a light fragrance lingering in his mouth, leaving a rich aftertaste. What was more magical was that his injuries were all healed, and his beautiful scales regrew. Are there any more? Give me another one, Long Hao asked shamelessly, as if he had forgotten that she was of the human race that he despised the most. Scram! Feng Zhan roared while rolling his eyes at Long Hao. Master, I want one too. Feng Zhan looked at Lung Ruoxue pitifully like a puppy after yelling at Long Hao. Boo! A lot of my feathers were plucked off by that stinky dragon. Take it! Lung Ruoxue forced a smile and threw Feng Zhan a similar pill. Thank you, master. Feng Zhan took the pill and hurriedly threw it into his mouth. In an instant, his injuries healed, and the feathers that had fallen regrew. Dragon Emperor, it's not impossible to obtain pills, Lung Ruoxue said softly while looking at Long Hao's gigantic body. Really? Long Hao was pleasantly surprised. This pill was really something good. But I can't give any to you for free. You have to exchange something for them. Lung Ruoxue revealed her purpose after tossing out the bait. What is it? I'm very poor and don't have money, Long Hao said with a bitter face. Bullshit. You dragons are the wealthiest, yet you claim to be poor. How embarrassing. Feng Zhan exposed him unceremoniously. Dragons were the best at plundering good things. I don't want money. Lung Ruoxue rolled her eyes at Long Hao helplessly. She had long heard that dragons were greedy, lustful, and petty. Seeing one today, she thought that they were indeed worthy of their reputation. That's good. Long Hao didn't care about Feng Zhan's sarcasm at all. He was greatly relieved when he heard Lung Ruoxue say that she didn't want money. Then what do you want? Long Hao asked. Dragon Emperor, why don't you invite us in? Lung Ruoxue asked instead of answering his question. Chapter 233, The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against, 2. I'm sorry. I forgot. Please come in. Long Hao said, slightly embarrassed. To be honest, he hadn't intended to invite them in before, but things were different now. After Long Hao finished speaking, a bridge immediately appeared between Dragon Island and the beach. Under the guidance of the Dragon Emperor, Lung Ruoxue and the others stepped onto the small bridge and entered Dragon Island. Upon entering Dragon Island, Lung Ruoxue found that the entire island was unbelievably large. The small mountain she saw outside was merely the tip of the iceberg of Dragon Island. However, this Dragon Island was a little too desolate. Even though Dragon Island stretched as far as the eye could see, there wasn't a single tree on the island. The island was full of cliffs and precipices with countless caves carved into the walls. That is where we dragons live, Long Hao explained when he saw Lung Ruoxue looking at the caves. Don't you dragons come out during the day? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. She often saw phoenixes in the Phoenix clan's territory, but she didn't see a single dragon on such a big island. Dragons like to sleep, so they spend most of the year resting in their caves, Long Hao said implicitly, his face slightly hot. Just say that you dragons are too lazy. Feng Zhan's cool voice drifted over. You damn bird. No one will think you're a mute if you don't speak. Long Hao roared and glared at him. My mouth is mine. I can say whatever I want. It's none of your business. Feng Zhan replied. He just liked to go against Long Hao. Stop quarreling, Lung Ruoxue said with slight displeasure. Her beautiful eyes lightly glanced at them, and Feng Zhan and Long Hao immediately shut their mouths sensibly. This is the main hall of our dragon clan. Please enter, Miss Lang, Long Hao said politely while pointing at a cave after they walked for a while. It was like he was a different dragon from the violent one outside of the island just now. Okay. Lung Ruoxue braced herself and walked into the cave. The cave was relatively clean, but it was pretty shabby compared to the main hall of the Phoenix clan. There was nothing else besides a few rows of stone chairs on both sides of the throne. Please take a seat, everyone. After entering the cave, Long Hao transformed into a human and sat directly on his throne. Lung Ruoxue casually found a chair and sat down. Her beautiful eyes looked at Long Hao, who was sitting on the head seat. This dragon was also a stunningly beautiful man. He looked about 20 years old, with a tall body, purple golden hair, golden eyes, and a body full of kingly majesty. Why are the human forms of spirit beasts so beautiful? She didn't understand. Miss Lung, what would you like to exchange for the pill? Long Hao asked eagerly after they sat down. He was very interested in the pill. Stinky Dragon, why don't you serve us some tea or snacks? Is this how you treat your guests? Feng Zhan couldn't help looking for trouble with him again before Lung Ruoxue could reply. Come, serve us some fruits, Long Hao ordered while suppressing his anger. He was so angry that he wanted to grill the bird and eat him. That's more like it. Feng Zhan nodded with satisfaction, looking as if he was very reasonable. After a while, a few dragons brought in several plates of fruits and placed them in front of Lung Ruoxue and the others. Master, this dragon clan's ambergris fruit might not be as good as our phoenix fruit, but it's passable. Have a taste. Feng Zhan picked up a green fruit that resembled a pear and handed it to Lung Ruoxue. You damn bird! Who said that our dragon clan's ambergris fruit isn't as good as phoenix fruit? Long Hao hated to hear such words. His loud voice shook the entire cave. But this time, Lung Ruoxue ignored their argument. She took out a red fruit from her ring, put it to her mouth, and took a small bite. Immediately, the fragrance of the fruit drifted in the entire cave. It smells so good. Long Hao couldn't help taking a deep breath and staring at Lung Ruoxue with shining eyes. Master, where did this fruit come from? Feng Zhan asked in amazement. The smell alone made people feel refreshed, and it was really too alluring. Of course it was planted, Lung Ruoxue said while eating. Who planted it? Is there more? Feng Zhan asked anxiously. The spiritual energy contained in the fruit was not something that the phoenix fruit could compare with. Do you want one? Lung Ruoxue asked lightly with the expression of the big bad wolf seducing Little Red Riding Hood. Yes, of course I do, Feng Zhan said hurriedly. I want one too, Long Hao quickly said, not willing to be outdone, for fear that the fruits would be gone if he was late. How does it compare to your ambergris fruit and phoenix fruit? Lung Ruoxue looked at the two of them with a smile. There's no comparison, the two said in unison. So, are you still going to argue? Lung Ruoxue asked. No more, no more. The two smiled apologetically and cooperated very well. As for the Dragon Emperor, you can exchange something for them. Lung Ruoxue threw Feng Zhan a storage ring and then spoke to Long Hao. Master, you are the best. Feng Zhan quickly put the storage ring away, as though he was afraid that someone would snatch it away. Miss Lung, what do you want? Anything is fine except money, Long Hao said resolutely. Relax. I don't want money, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. Are dragons really that poor? So stingy. Please tell me, Miss Lung. I will try my best to satisfy you if it's within my means, Long Hao said generously. Master, I'll say it for you. Feng Zhan winked at Lung Ruoxue with a mysterious expression. Lung Ruoxue nodded and agreed to let Feng Zhan be her spokesperson. Stinky Dragon, listen carefully. My master's condition is very simple. First, we want essence restoration grass. This condition isn't difficult to fulfill, right? Feng Zhan raised his eyebrows slightly. It's not difficult. Essence restoration grass was useless to them. Second, you captured a human a while ago, right? How do you know? Long Hao asked curiously, but his eyes were looking at Lung Ruoxue. Could that human be related to her? In that case, it won't be easy to handle. Chapter 234. The unlucky dragon clan being schemed against. 3. To tell you the truth, that human is my master's subordinate. Feng Zhan simply made things clear with Long Hao to prevent him from making wild guesses. Oh, are there any other conditions? Long Hao wanted to change the topic. Yes. What? Why are there so many conditions? Hopefully, they won't make things difficult for me. Long Hao prayed in his heart. He really wanted those fruits and pills. My master's subordinates need contract beasts. You dragons aren't bad. Your skin is thick and resistant to attacks, so you should sacrifice a few stinky dragons. Feng Zhan said with a smile, his expression very amiable. Impossible. Long Hao stood up from his chair angrily and looked at Feng Zhan with a face full of rage. A dragon was contracted with a human, and the dragon clan almost had a falling out. Those elders would eat him alive if there were more. Dragon Emperor, since you're unwilling, I won't force you. Then let's exchange for the essence restoration grass and Fengde for the time being. If the dragon clan wants to make other transactions, you can come to the Phoenix clan to find me at any time, Leng Ruoxue said coldly and also stood up while rolling her eyes at Feng Zhan. So, this fellow was targeting the dragon clan when he said he would find contract beasts for her subordinates. Well, it was a good idea, but the dragons were not so easy to fool. Miss Leng, the essence restoration grass is no problem, but I have to discuss the matter of the human with the elders before we can decide, Long Hao said with a troubled expression. The mighty dragon emperor can't even decide on such a small matter? Leng Ruoxue asked with slight mockery. Actually, that human isn't in my hands, Long Hao said softly. Where then? Leng Ruoxue pretended to be impatient. That human was captured by the third elder of our dragon clan, and he has always been in the third elder's hands. Long Hao explained that the third elder went to the Ling Feng continent to look for his son but found that his son had actually been contracted by a human. He captured that human in the fit of anger. The third elder and that fire dragon. Leng Ruoxue asked lightly while staring at Long Hao with her beautiful eyes. Father and son. Long Hao betrayed the third elder without hesitation and revealed their relationship. Oh, I see, Leng Ruoxue said with a face full of understanding. Dragon Emperor, may I meet the third elder? Leng Ruoxue continued to ask. If she couldn't convince that old dragon, then she would have to use force. In any case, she had to take Fengde away today. Sure. But the third elder doesn't have a good temper, Long Hao reminded. It's okay. My temper isn't very good either, Leng Ruoxue said nonchalantly. When Long Hao heard this, his face darkened. What does she mean? Is she going to use violence to curb violence? It's not impossible. Good luck, third elder. For his own benefits, Long Hao betrayed the third elder easily. After bringing Leng Ruoxue and the others to the third elder's residence, he found a random excuse and immediately slipped away. Master, are we going in? Feng Zhan asked eagerly. Beating up dragons was his favorite pastime. Royal father, let me take the lead. Feng Linger's beautiful face was full of excitement. She couldn't defeat the dragon emperor, but that wasn't the case with the third elder. What are you doing? We're not here to fight. Cold sweat dripped down Leng Ruoxue's forehead. What a violent pair of father and daughter. Why are we here then? Feng Linger was puzzled. Those stinky dragons were all very stubborn, and there was no helping them unless they beat them up. Of course we're here to negotiate. We have to convince the dragon with reason. Leng Ruoxue boasted shamelessly, her beautiful face devoid of any shame. Oh! Feng Zhan and Feng Linger responded, but their eyes were full of disbelief. Stop looking at me like that. I'm a pacifist. Leng Ruoxue walked directly into the cave without looking at them. Human, where did you come from? How dare you trespass into my mansion? Leng Ruoxue heard a furious roar coming from inside the cave before she could see what was happening inside. Mansion? Leng Ruoxue couldn't help laughing. This old dragon is quite interesting. He actually called this shabby cave his mansion. It was really unexpected. Little girl, what are you laughing about? With a displeased face, a tall and handsome middle-aged man suddenly appeared in front of Leng Ruoxue. He didn't know why there was a human in the clan, But this girl was pretty gutsy. How does such a shabby cave resemble a mansion? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. This old dragon was indeed quite interesting. Other dragons liked their true form, but he actually appeared in human form. Did he yearn for the life of humans? A shabby cave is also my mansion, the middle-aged man roared loudly while glaring at her. Feng Zhan walked in and said with an accusing face, "Hey, third elder, why are you shouting? Don't scare my master." Phoenix King. Huh, your master? Who is that? The third elder was so surprised that his jaw almost hit the ground. Am I deaf? Did I just hear the Phoenix King say my master? The master he's talking about is me. Lung Ruoxue kindly explained. She had been thinking about how to move this old dragon. Her principle was to try not to fight if possible. But if she had to, then she would ruthlessly beat up her opponents until they became well-behaved. How can the mighty Phoenix King acknowledge a human as his master? I wonder if the ancestors of your Phoenix clan will be driven to their graves if they find out. The third elder burst into laughter. Third elder, don't worry. The ancestors of the Phoenix clan will definitely be very grateful to me. I've done a great service to the clan, Feng Zhan said nonchalantly without even frowning. Really? Phoenix King, did you bring this little girl in? The third elder asked, even though he knew it all along. Asking the obvious. Feng Zhan spat out these words coldly. He turned his face away, too lazy to look at the smug old stinky dragon. Third elder, I heard you captured a human? Lung Ruoxue probed to see the old dragon's attitude. Chapter 235. The Unlucky Dragon Clan Being Schemed Against 4. So what? Are you here that human? The third elder guessed. He was full of anger at the mention of that human. Yes, that person is my subordinate. I hope you can return him to me, third elder, Lung Ruoxue said politely. Don't even think about it. The third elder refused without hesitation. That human could forget about ever leaving Dragon Island. He didn't want his son to be enslaved by a human. Third elder, feel free to state any conditions as long as it's within my means, Lung Ruoxue said patiently. She was being polite before resorting to force. If this old dragon continued being so stubborn, then she shouldn't be blamed. There's no need to negotiate unless they can cancel the contract, the third elder said stubbornly. Third elder, as a spirit beast, you should know very well that a soul contract can't be broken. Aren't you making things difficult for me? Lung Ruoxue was a little angry after hearing the old dragon's condition. She was being nice because she didn't want to have a major conflict with the Dragon Clan. With her strength, she was not afraid of the Dragon Clan. But she was unwilling to use force if there were simple and energy-saving ways to achieve her goal. I only have this one condition. The third elder refused to give in. In that case, I have no choice but to apologize to third elder in advance. Lung Ruoxue directly attacked. A thread-like green spiritual power drifted out from her fingertip and slowly coiled around the third elder, tightly binding him. You want to deal with me with this little bit of spiritual power? The third elder said with a face full of disdain. As a divine beast, he didn't care about such a little bit of spiritual power. So he didn't even dodge or resist and let the thin thread wrap around him. At the same time, in a cell on Dragon Island, Master, that female jinx is here. A fire dragon hurriedly flew to the side of a cliff and shouted at the person locked inside. Which female jinx? The person inside asked calmly. It's the female jinx who captured me to contract with Master, Fire Dragon hurriedly explained. Feng De quickly ran to Fire Dragon and asked through the arm-thick railing, Are you saying that Miss is here? To save me? Yes, but she's no match for those dragons, Fire Dragon said worriedly. Boo! Poor Master. Nonsense. If Miss could teach you a lesson back then, she can naturally teach other dragons a lesson now. Also, you are not allowed to call Miss a female jinx. Feng Da's big hand slapped Fire Dragon's head as he scolded. Miss is my idol. There is nothing Miss can't do. Feng De thought. His blind admiration for Lung Ruoxue had already risen to an indescribable height. Boo! Master. You've been poisoned too deeply by the female jinx. Fire Dragon complained in his heart while looking at Fengde with his huge dragon eyes like a little wife. Where is Miss now? Fengde asked excitedly. He knew that his young lady would definitely come to save him. At my father's place, Fire Dragon whispered, feeling very nervous. Boo! Father! Don't hurt the female jinx, or master will blame me. He knew very well how important the female jinx was in his master's heart. Little Fire, your father is going to be in trouble. Fengde's face was full of schadenfreude. So what if that third elder is the father of my spirit beast? How dare he capture me and scare me? I have to prepare for my revenge. The thought of the sea beasts not far away eyeing him like food made him resentful. But he knew that the third elder would not kill him. Otherwise, Fire Dragon would not survive. The third elder's goal was merely to torture him mentally. How is that possible? My father is a divine beast. Fire Dragon really couldn't believe his master's words. No matter how powerful that female jinx was, it was impossible for her to defeat a divine beast, right? What's so great about a divine beast? My young lady has many divine beasts, Fengde said with a face full of pride, his eyes shining with adoration. That's true. But there are many divine beasts in the dragon clan, Fire Dragon said carefully. There were nearly 1,000 dragons in the entire dragon clan, and there were hundreds of dragons that had advanced to divine beast, so what? Fengde said disapprovingly. He was very confident in his young lady. She wouldn't fight a battle that she wasn't confident of winning. Since she dared to come, she probably didn't care about those dragons at all. Alas, Master is hopeless. Fire Dragon couldn't help sighing and shaking his head helplessly. At the third elder's residence, the third elder, who underestimated his enemy, didn't expect that this thin thread of spiritual power would actually prevent him from breaking free. Moreover, it bound him tighter and tighter and entangled him even more. In just a short while, green spiritual power covered his body. The third elder struggled with all his might. But the spiritual power thinner than a strand of hair didn't budge at all. Slowly, the green spiritual power changed, and green leaves actually grew on it. Then pink flowers the size of a fingernail bloomed. Fengde couldn't help bursting into laughter when he saw the third elder's current appearance. The third elder actually became a tree stump. Not only was his body covered in leaves, but flowers had even bloomed on his body. He just didn't know if they would bear fruit later. He couldn't help but be full of anticipation. What spiritual skill is this? Why is it so strange? The third elder also discovered the situation happening to his body and even forgot to be angry. He was curious. He had lived for so long but had yet to see any spiritual skill that could bloom. This is a spiritual skill I created myself. It's called luxuriant branches and leaves. I am using it for the first time today. How does it feel? Lung Ruoxue asked lightly. Obviously, she regarded the third elder as a lab rat. Quickly let go of me. If you are so capable, let's fight head-on. The third elder roared while almost vomiting blood in his heart. What was this? He actually became the little girl's lab rat for experimenting with her spiritual skill. He was so depressed. Fight head-on? Third elder, do you think I'm teasing you? Lung Ruoxue smiled mockingly. Does this old man think I have to ask my opponents if they're ready before we start fighting? Chapter 236, To Play the Long Game, 1. What I mean is, you release me, and we'll fight again. I won't accept it since you won unfairly like this. The third elder argued stubbornly. As the saying goes, all is fair in love and war. I only want the result. As for the process? It doesn't matter as long as it achieves my goal, Lung Ruoxue said calmly. Well, she should still think about how to negotiate with the Dragon Clan. The third elder was so angry that he couldn't speak, and only after a while did he manage to squeeze out, You're despicable. Am I despicable? Lung Ruoxue asked Fengde with an innocent face. How can Master be despicable? Those who don't know what's good for themselves and do nothing but rely on their identity as divine beasts are the despicable ones. Feng Zhan said softly without even looking up. In Flame, go invite the Dragon Emperor over. Leng Ruoxue instructed In Flame outside. They'll go find that stinky dragon now. In Flame, who was guarding outside, immediately flew happily to find Long Hao. After a while, Long Hao very reluctantly arrived at the third elder's residence. Long Hao looked at the third elder, who was growing flowers, and suppressed his laughter to say dignifiedly, may I know why Miss Leng is looking for me? Dragon Emperor, I want to exchange him for Feng De. Is that okay? Leng Ruoxue asked indifferently, her beautiful eyes staring at Long Hao. I'm fine with it. But I don't know. Long Hao glanced at the third elder and stopped mid-sentence. Alas, these elders of the dragon clan were all stubborn old men. He couldn't force the third elder to agree even though he was the dragon emperor. Don't even think about it. I will never hand him over to you, the third elder said stubbornly. He would rather die than let his son lose his freedom and be controlled by humans to work like a draft animal. Would you rather die than submit? Leng Ruoxue questioned coldly. What's wrong with this third elder? She really didn't understand why this old man was so insistent. Yes, you can kill me, but don't expect me to hand him over to you, the third elder said resolutely. But give me a reason. Leng Ruoxue asked patiently. She couldn't really kill the third elder, right? After all, this old man was the father of that fire dragon. I don't want my son to be enslaved by humans and lose his freedom, the third elder roared furiously. Who told you that being contracted with a human means that you will definitely be enslaved by humans? If I'm not mistaken, the reason why that fire dragon left the dragon clan was that he was bullied in the clan, right? To tell you the truth, if it weren't for me, your son wouldn't have been able to advance to become a divine beast now. Not only are you ungrateful, but you even repaid kindness with ingratitude and captured my subordinate. Leng Ruoxue said with an ice-cold tone, her face covered in frost. No, it's impossible. How can my son's advancement to divine beast be related to this little girl? Wasn't it Aoer's own efforts? The third elder was incomparably shocked and was unwilling to believe Leng Ruoxue's words at all. If you don't believe me, you can call that fire dragon over, and we can confront each other face to face, Leng Ruoxue suggested. This old man could doubt her words, but he would not believe the words of his son, right? Come, get Hua Ao to come over, Long Hao ordered his subordinates. No need to get me. I'm here. A red-haired young man walked in. Aoer. Father. Miss, please show mercy and let my father go. Hua Ao walked to Leng Ruoxue, knelt down and begged. It seemed that his master was right. His father was indeed the unlucky one. Alas, the female jinx is really too terrifying. You are asking the wrong person. It's your father who is finding trouble with me. Leng Ruoxue didn't even look at the fire dragon, and her tone was even colder than before. Father, it's all thanks to Miss that I was able to advance to divine beast, Hua Ao explained directly. He had heard everything they said outside. Ao, is what you said true? But how is this possible? She's only a human. The third elder asked in disbelief, his face full of astonishment. Even Long Hao and Feng Zhan were surprised. Miss is an alchemist, Hua Ao said. She can concoct pills that can advance holy beasts? Long Hao asked anxiously. If this was the case, he would have to reconsider Leng Ruoxue's position. Hua Ao stared at Leng Ruoxue for a while and then nodded. Yes. Miss Leng, I agree to return that human to you. Please let the third elder go. Long Hao immediately said emphatically after hearing what Hua Ao said. Third elder, do you have any objections? Leng Ruoxue asked while looking at the third elder. No. Although the third elder was still a little unwilling, he knew very well that he had to back down in the face of major issues concerning the Dragon Clan. In that case, let's exchange. Okay, Miss Leng, what about our deal? Long Hao couldn't help asking. As usual, of course, Leng Ruoxue said generously. She wanted to extend the line to catch big fish, so she would give them some benefits first. Very well. Let's exchange the essence restoration grass and that human first. As for Miss Lung's other condition, I have to discuss it with the elders, Long Hao said amiably and sincerely. Stinky Dragon, you really know how to take advantage of others, don't you? My master is exchanging her subordinate for your third elder. This has nothing to do with the deal, right? Feng Zhan said with contempt and ridicule. How am I taking advantage of her? Didn't we agree on this beforehand? Long Hao retorted awkwardly with a hot face. It's okay. Lung Ruoxue smiled generously. If she didn't let these petty dragons take advantage of her first, how could they take the bait? Hee, anyone who dared to take advantage of her had to pay the price. You stupid bird, look at how generous Miss Lung is. No wonder she can become your master, Long Hao provoked proudly. Feng Zhan rolled his eyes at him, despising him in his heart. Mississippi. Feng De was brought to the third elder's residence. Seems like you didn't suffer any physical pain. Lung Ruoxue looked at the excited Feng De with tears in his eyes. Feng Da's clothes were a little disheveled, and his face a little haggard, but he was in a better condition than she had imagined. Chapter 237, To Play the Long Game, 2. Yeah, Feng De answered. He didn't suffer any physical pain. All he suffered was mental pain. Boo! Third elder? Ha! Suddenly, Feng De saw a middle-aged man covered in leaves and blooming with countless pink flowers. He was stunned, and then he laughed hysterically. Third elder, you met with such fate too. Feng De circled him a few times, then stopped in front of him and tugged at a little flower on his body. Huh, it's actually real? How did Miss do it? She's really amazing. Umph. The third elder snorted and looked up at the sky without even looking at Feng De. Third elder, I really want to beat you up. But seeing how beautiful you are now, I really can't bear to do it. Alas. I'm magnanimous, so I'll forgive you. Feng De said with a smile. Umph. Another snort came. Miss Lung, this is the essence restoration grass you wanted. Long Hao handed Lung Ruoxue a few blades of emerald green grass. Thank you. This is yours. Lung Ruoxue put the essence restoration grass in her storage ring, looked at the expectant Long Hao, and gave him a ring. Dragon Emperor, come to the Phoenix clan to look for me after you have discussed the last condition. However, I won't stay in the Phoenix clan for too long, Lung Ruoxue said to Long Hao. Okay, we will give Miss Ling an answer as soon as possible, Long Hao said quickly. Let's go. Lung Ruoxue said to Feng Zhan and Feng De. The two of them nodded and were about to leave with Lung Ruoxue when Long Hao stopped them. Lung Ruoxue looked at Long Hao doubtfully, her face full of question marks. Miss Lung, please untie the third elder. Long Hao asked helplessly. You can't untie it. You have to follow the laws of nature. Lung Ruoxue walked past Long Hao and left. Father, I'm leaving too. I'll come back to see you, Huao quickly said to the third elder when he saw his master leaving. Oh, Dragon Emperor, what should I do? The third elder asked anxiously as he looked at his son's disappearing figure and then at himself. I don't have a choice. You should just follow the laws of nature. Long Hao held in his laughter, comforted him helplessly, and then walked away. Miss, what are the laws of nature? Feng De asked curiously on the way back to the Phoenix clan. Think about it yourself, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. How stupid! I can't think of anything. Feng De looked at Lung Ruoxue pitifully with a bitter face. How can I have such a stupid subordinate like you? Lung Ruoxue said in disappointment. I know. The laws of nature are the laws of nature. Inflame flew to Feng Da's side. Whether it's animals, plants, or humans, in short, all species must abide by the laws of nature, Inflame explained. He was a wood spirit vermilion bird, so no one knew more about nature than him. Oh. Although Feng De still didn't know much, he pretended to understand in order not to be despised by his young lady. Boo-hoo, this little bird really brought him down hard. Little sister Ruoxue, why did you let those stinky dragons take advantage of us? Feng Linger, who had been silent, asked in puzzlement, feeling very uncomfortable. To play the long game, of course, Lung Ruoxue explained with a light smile. Master, do you mean that the dragon clan will agree to that condition? Feng Miao asked with some uncertainty. They had studied outside for a long time just now, but they didn't understand why their master wanted to show weakness. After all, with their Phoenix clan's strength, they were not afraid of the dragon clan at all. Yes, I can advance holy beasts. This bait is big enough, Lung Ruoxue said confidently. Probably no beast could refuse such a condition. Master, our Phoenix clan also has many level 9 holy beasts, Feng Zhan reminded. If all those members of the Phoenix clan could advance to divine beast, how formidable would this force be? I've got it ready. Lung Ruoxue took out a jade bottle and handed it to Feng Zhan. How could she forget her own beasts? Thank you, Master. I will arrange for their advancement when we get back, Feng Zhan said with an excited expression on his face as he hurriedly accepted the jade bottle and put it away. No rush. Wait for me to finish refining the essence restoration pill before letting them advance. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. In comparison, her brother's matter was more important. After waiting for so long, her genius brother could finally recover. Feng Zhan nodded shyly. He was being a little hasty. Back at the Phoenix clan, Lung Ruoxue brought Feng De, her grandfather, and the others into the Heaven and Earth bracelet and went straight into the purple bamboo house. Where is this? Feng De murmured in a daze as he stood foolishly in the space. It's so beautiful here. Captain! Lin Yuan shouted as he dashed to Feng De. Lin Yuan, why are you here? Feng De asked in surprise. And us? Everyone emerged from hiding. Feng De was startled by everyone, and after reacting, he couldn't help asking curiously, what's going on? Captain, listen to me tell you slowly. Lin Yuan pulled Feng De to the side and told him everything that had happened during this period of time. While they were chatting, the idle old man walked to Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang curiously. Hey, what are you two doing? Old man asked curiously. These two old fellows were staring at the purple bamboo house without blinking. What was the use? Could they get anything out of doing so? Go away and play somewhere else. Lung Qingtian waved his hand as if he was shooing away a fly. That's right. Don't cause trouble. Ruoxue is concocting pills. Lin Liang was in no mood to joke with old man. He was so nervous that his heart was about to jump out of his throat. This was a big matter related to his precious disciple. Calm down. Isn't it just alchemy? Is there a need for you all to be so paranoid? Old man said helplessly. Alas, they are really blinded by concern. Chapter 238. To play the long game, 3. Compared to the nervousness of the two outside, Lung Ruoxue was very calm in the purple bamboo house. After entering the alchemy room, she was in no hurry to start concocting immediately but instead took out the pill formula. The level of the essence restoration pill was not high, and it was not difficult for her. But she still looked at it several times to prevent herself from missing anything to err on the safe side. Then Lung Ruoxue took out the medicinal herbs she had prepared long ago, took out the alchemy furnace, and officially began concocting. After lighting the pill furnace and preheating it, Lung Ruoxue placed the medicinal herbs into the pill furnace in order. After the medicinal herbs melted and turned into liquid, she began to purify and condense the pills. After she completed the last step, the unique fragrance of the pills slowly spread out from the furnace. Lung Ruoxue opened the furnace, took out more than a dozen translucent, round pearl-like silver-white pills, and put them in a special jade bottle. After concocting the essence restoration pills, Lung Ruoxue immediately left with the pills. After exiting the purple bamboo house, Lung Ruoxue saw two pairs of shining eyes looking at her anxiously, their faces nervous and expectant. Seeing the two grandpas' expressions, Lung Ruoxue couldn't help laughing. It was a success, Lung Ruoxue said directly to the two without beating around the bush. Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang sighed in relief. Qingju, ask Big Brother to come out. Lung Ruoxue said to Qingju, who was not far away. Qingju actually sacrificed her big brother's beauty in order to lock up that perverted butterfly. Alas. Okay. Qing Ju waved his fair and tender little hand, and Lung Ruhan appeared in front of everyone. Of course, the perverted butterfly was with him. Finally willing to let me out? I was bored to death. Fortunately, there was a stunningly beautiful man accompanying me, the butterfly complained as soon as it left the prison. Shut up! Lung Ruoxue hollered. The shining butterfly flapped its wings, flew in front of Lung Ruoxue, and persuaded her earnestly, "Girl, be gentle, be gentle. Get lost." Lung Ruoxue roared. She didn't want to see this abnormal butterfly. "Girl." The butterfly looked at Lung Ruoxue with tears in its little black eyes, full of grievance. "Lil Purple, come back," Lung Ruhan said softly. His clear and pure bright eyes were full of helplessness. "Okay." The butterfly flew back obediently to Lung Ruhan's side unwillingly. Did Big Brother subdue this butterfly? Lung Ruoxue couldn't help becoming curious after seeing how obedient the butterfly was to Lung Ruhan. "Big Brother, I've successfully concocted the essence restoration pill. You can recover your spiritual power," Lung Ruoxue said happily while looking at her excellent brother. As for the butterfly, she would leave the matter for another time. "Swear, thank you." Lung Ruhan's face was unusually calm, but his voice was trembling, revealing his nervousness. "Big Brother, reconstructing your meridians might hurt a little. You have to bear with it," Lung Ruoxue reminded as she handed him an essence restoration pill. "Okay." Lung Ruhan nodded. His beautiful face was resolute as he walked toward his residence. After a while, painful groans sounded from Lung Ruhan's room. Lung Ruoxue and the others, who were guarding outside the house, felt their hearts wrench upon hearing this. "Swear, Ruhan has been in there for so long. Why isn't he better yet?" Lung Qingtian paced back and forth anxiously. "Grandpa, reconstructing meridians is a very slow process." "Don't worry," Lung Ruoxue comforted. In fact, she was quite nervous. But others couldn't help with this kind of thing, and they could only rely on her brother. "Yes, all of you are too nervous. Calm down," Old Man advised helplessly. 2 hours later, the door of the house opened, and Lung Ruhan emerged. The smile on his face was incomparably dazzling, stunning everyone present, even though he looked disheveled. "Big Brother." Lung Ruoxue threw herself into Lung Ruhan's arms excitedly. She knew that her brother had succeeded. "Swear, Big Brother can protect you again in the future." Lung Ruhan hugged his baby sister happily. He could finally cultivate again. This feeling was really great. Lung Ruoxue nodded and then said mischievously, "Yes, but I still prefer the feeling of protecting Big Brother. You don't have to fight. Grandpa needs protection the most. Come and protect Grandpa." Lung Qingtian couldn't help joking when he saw that his grandson had finally recovered. "Disciple, Master also needs protection," Lin Liang added playfully. "Hey, do you two not know shame? I'm getting goosebumps. Don't disgust me here." Old Man jumped in and accused them before the siblings could say anything. "It's none of your business," Lung Qingtian and Lin Liang said in unison while rolling their eyes at Old Man. "Hee, Big Brother, let's ignore them and talk outside," Lung Ruoxue whispered to Lung Ruhan while the 3 old men were arguing again. "Okay." Lung Ruhan nodded. As a 24-hour-day filial elder brother, he naturally had to listen to his little sister. Lung Ruoxue left the Heaven and Earth bracelet with Lung Ruhan and appeared in her room. "Big White, quickly come out and acknowledge your master," Lung Ruoxue called out to the space. The beast she had prepared for her brother had finally come in handy. "We're here." Big White's entire family appeared in front of them. During their time in the space, Big White and his wife had both advanced to level 8 Holy Beast while their cubs also grew a lot. "Establish the contract," Lung Ruoxue said to Big White. The male white tiger nodded his large head and took the lead in establishing a soul contract. Following that, his wife and children also established soul contracts with Lung Ruhan. The contract arrays descended almost simultaneously, and after they disappeared, the contracts were formally established. "Big White, you can go back now." Lung Ruoxue sent their entire family back into the bracelet. Chapter 239. To play the long game 4. Big brother, he'll get you a few more dragons to contract in a few days, Leng Ruoxue said. Those dragons were a little ugly, but they were pretty strong and usable. Swear, Big White and his family are enough for me. Leng Ruhen smiled, his face full of satisfaction. They are not divine beasts yet. Big brother has to have a divine beast no matter what, Leng Ruoxue said very seriously. Their opponents would become stronger and stronger in the future, so the strength of their beasts was extremely important. Okay, Big brother will listen to Shuer, Leng Ruhen said helplessly, his face full of affection. Shuer, you naughty girl, where did you go? Leng Qingshan's angry roar suddenly appeared in Leng Ruoxue's mind. Big brother, Grandpa and the others finally realized that we left. Leng Ruoxue smiled happily. Get the 3 old men to come out as well, lest they be too anxious, Leng Ruhen said very kindly with a similarly happy smile on his face. Okay Grandpa, come out. Leng Ruoxue said to the few anxious old men in the space. Shuer, you naughty girl. Leng Qingang glared at his granddaughter with wide eyes, wanting to bore a hole through her. That's right, Ruoxue, how could you abandon us? Lin Liang said with a sad face. Stop acting. I won't fall for it. Leng Ruoxue steeled herself and turned her face away. Alas! We are old and despised by the little girl, old man said sadly with a heavy sigh. Stop. Okay, I'm afraid of you. What do you want? Tell me. Leng Ruoxue raised her hands in surrender. She was impressed by these 3 old men. They would stop at nothing until they achieved their goal. Shuer, Ruhan's injuries have healed. Shouldn't we celebrate? Leng Qingtian probed, his face full of anticipation. How do you want to celebrate, Grandpa? Leng Ruoxue asked, pretending not to understand. She knew that these old men were greedy. Ruoxue, do you still have python meat? Lin Liang asked as he swallowed his saliva gently. Do you want to eat it? Yes, yes. 3 pairs of expectant eyes stared at Leng Ruoxue. Leng Ruoxue stopped teasing them and said straightforwardly, then let's go out and eat. Okay. The 3 old men had no objections. As long as they could eat, the location was not important. Leng Ruoxue sent them back into the heaven and earth bracelet and then left the wooden house. After arriving at the valley where she had advanced last time, Leng Ruoxue released everyone and the beasts from the bracelet. Feng De walked to Leng Ruoxue and said as if he was presenting a treasure, Miss, I have another python here. Just right. There are so many people and beasts, so I was thinking it might not be enough. Leng Ruoxue gave Feng De some instructions and then entered the bracelet. Qing Ju, where's the little mink? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously. He's guarding the fire lotus. After hearing what Qing Ju said, Leng Ruoxue went to the field where the fire lotus was planted. As expected, she saw the little silver mink lying motionlessly in front of the fire lotus. Seeing this, she felt a little uncomfortable. Doesn't this little mink like to stick to me the most? Is this fire lotus female? Little mink, what are you doing here? Leng Ruoxue questioned in annoyance. Shuer, you're here? The little silver mink looked up at Leng Ruoxue and then lowered his little head to stare at the fire lotus. Do you intend to stay here forever? Leng Ruoxue said with some jealousy. But she didn't even realize in the slightest that she was jealous of the fire lotus. It's very important, the little silver mink whispered while praying in his heart. Grow up quickly. As long as it could grow into a 1,000-year-old fire lotus, he would be able to revive. It is very important, but you don't have to stay here. Qing Ju will take care of it. Leng Ruoxue suppressed her anger. Of course, she knew how important the fire lotus was. But for some reason, seeing this little mink guarding this place made her uncomfortable. Shuer, what's wrong? The little silver mink was puzzled. Why is Shuer angry? You are not allowed to stay here, Leng Ruoxue ordered as she picked up the little mink lying on the ground. Oh, the little silver mink answered softly. Boo, does Shuer dislike me? His imagination began to run wild again. Leng Ruoxue left the bracelet with the little mink in her arms. After going out, she saw that everyone was almost ready. Miss, this is for you. Feng De handed Leng Ruoxue a piece of cleaned meat. Thank you. Lung Ruoxue sat on the ground with the little mink in her arms and began grilling the meat on the fire. Big sister, baby wants to eat too, baby said coquettishly while snuggling up to Lung Ruoxue. It's not done yet. Don't worry, Lung Ruoxue coaxed. She gently caressed baby's soft fur and sighed in her heart. Why are my beasts so cute? After she grilled the meat, she distributed the meat to the mink and baby. Be careful. It's hot, Lung Ruoxue quickly reminded baby as she watched him wolf down the food. Why aren't you eating? Lung Ruoxue turned her gaze to the little mink in her arms. I want you to feed me. The little silver mink pouted his pink lips and acted coquettishly. But he kept repeating to himself in his heart, Schwer won't hate me. She won't. Open your mouth. Lung Ruoxue helplessly tore off a small piece of meat and brought it to the little mink's mouth to coax him. It smells so good. The little silver mink licked his lips happily and rubbed his fluffy little face against Lung Ruoxue's beautiful face in satisfaction. Lung Ruoxue rubbed the little mink's soft fur. When she saw the little thing's satisfied expression, her depressed mood just now was swept away. Everyone sat together happily. After they had their fill, Lung Ruoxue sent them all back to the Heaven and Earth bracelet and returned to the Phoenix clan's territory alone. After returning to the Phoenix clan, Lung Ruoxue went straight to Feng Zhan. Chapter 240. To play the long game 5. Master, why are you here? Feng Zhan asked curiously. Shouldn't Master be concocting pills right now? Feng Zhan, go and tell them to advance, Lung Ruoxue said directly. After all those members of the Phoenix clan advanced to Divine Beast, she would be ready to leave a few days later. I'll inform them immediately, Feng Zhan said happily. He disappeared in the blink of an eye. Dragon Island. In the main hall, Long Hao was sitting on the throne. Below him were the 10 elders of the Dragon Clan, including the 3rd elder with flowers all over his body. You already know what happened. Tell me your thoughts. Long Hao's sharp golden eyes scanned the elders sitting below him. Your Majesty, we dragons are born noble, so how can we be commanded by humans? The 7th elder spoke first, his wrinkled face full of disapproval. Does anyone have a different opinion? Long Hao's golden eyes narrowed. He had already expected the reaction of the 7th elder, so he was not surprised that the old man would object. A little old man with white hair stood up and said, Your Majesty, if that Lung Ruoxue can really help our clan advance, it won't be a loss to acknowledge her as our master. 2nd elder, you are mistaken. The 7th elder hurriedly stood up to object when he heard the little old man. 7th elder, calm down and let 2nd elder finish speaking, Long Hao interrupted. But he was thinking in his heart that he had almost made the necessary arrangements, and he couldn't let this stubborn old man spoil the plans. Your Majesty, elders, please listen to me. Although Lung Ruoxue is only a human, she has pills that can advance holy beasts to divine beasts. Everyone should know very well how difficult it is to advance to divine beast. Moreover, the Phoenix King has already acknowledged her as his master. I believe that the strength of the Phoenix clan will soon surpass ours. Do you want to see that happen? The 2nd elder said loudly with his blood boiling. He mentioned the Phoenix clan because he knew that these elders would not want to see the Phoenix clan become stronger than them. I think 2nd elder makes sense, the other elders agreed. Although dragons and phoenixes were not arch-enemies, they were definitely not friends. In fact, the animosity between the two races had existed for a long time. Therefore, they would always start fighting whenever the two races met. Who knows if Lung Ruoxue really has that kind of medicinal pill in her hand, the 7th elder said with a face full of disbelief. Hua Ao tested it himself. How can it be fake? Moreover, he said it himself, the 2nd elder said hurriedly. What he implied was that even if you didn't believe in humans, shouldn't you believe in your own people? He has already acknowledged a human as his master, so of course he will speak up for humans. The 7th elder snorted and quibbled. Anyway, he just didn't agree. 7th elder, what's the meaning of this? Could it be that you think my son is lying? The 3rd elder questioned with a displeased face. His son finally became successful, but he was still being doubted. How unreasonable! I didn't mean that, the seventh elder quickly denied. He didn't want to provoke this violent dragon. Stop arguing. We must discuss this matter over a long period of time. Let's wait and see first. The first elder, who had not said a word all this while, said resolutely. After the first elder spoke, none of the elders dared to speak any more. Alas! Just a little more. Long Hao was depressed. The first elder had a high status in the dragon clan and had watched him grow up. So he didn't dare to force it if the first elder did not agree. But there was still hope since the first elder didn't refuse outrightly. At the same time, the sky outside the hall suddenly became incomparably dazzling, and lights flashed non-stop. Long Hao and the others hurriedly ran out of the hall. Your Majesty, these are the heaven and earth laws for advancement, the second elder said as he looked up at the sky. Heaven and earth laws had been descending all the time recently, but they hadn't been able to identify it the previous few times. This time, the place where the heaven and earth laws descended was clearly the territory of the Phoenix clan. Damn it! Those damn birds are actually advancing. Long Hao felt resentful as he looked at the heaven and earth laws descending from the sky. He turned around and returned to the main hall with a huff. Your Majesty, it's as I expected, the second elder said with a face full of realization. Do you have anything else to say, seventh elder? Long Hao asked furiously. The tough and stubborn seventh elder stammered a little in the face of reality. Your Majesty, if there is anyone in the dragon clan who wants to acknowledge humans as their masters, let them go, the first elder said. He didn't want to see the emperor vent all his anger on the elders. Second elder, I'll leave this matter to you, Long Hao ordered the second elder directly. He was waiting for the first elder to say this. Your Majesty, don't worry. I will definitely settle this matter, the second elder hurriedly said. This was a good task. He wondered what else that little girl had. He also wanted to exchange some stuff. The Phoenix clan's territory. The members of the Phoenix clan who had just become divine beasts crowded around Lung Ruoxue with gratitude on their faces. Big sister, Inflame also wants to become a divine beast. Inflame flew around Lung Ruoxue and kept shouting. Inflame, you're not an adult yet. Lung Ruoxue caressed Inflame's little head to calm him. When will I become an adult? Boo-hoo, Inflame, don't make a fuss, Feng Zhan gently reprimanded and grabbed the noisy little fellow into his embrace. Feng Zhan, I'm going back. Lung Ruoxue smiled at Feng Zhan. With that, she walked toward her residence. She had just gained so many benefits, so she had to go back and consolidate them. Lung Ruoxue returned to the wooden house, entered her room, and went directly into the heaven and earth bracelet. Swear, the scene just now was really spectacular, Lung Qingnan couldn't help saying when he saw his precious granddaughter. Yes, now that all those members of the Phoenix clan have advanced to Divine Beast, let's leave this place after the dragons of the Dragon clan come, Grandpa. Lung Ruoxue said after some thought. Chapter 241, Greedy Dragon Clan, Ideological Education, 1. Okay, but will the dragons of the Dragon Clan come? Lung Qingtian was a little worried. It seemed that those dragons despised humans. The advancements just now can't be hidden from the Dragon Clan. Those dragons should be anxious, so there will definitely be dragons coming to me, Lung Ruoxue said with certainty, but she didn't know how many there would be. Grandpa, what about Big Brother and the others? Lung Ruoxue asked. Ruhan, Feng De, and the others have all gone into seclusion. They said they wanted to cultivate diligently, Lung Qingtian explained. After leaving the Phoenix clan, the three old men also planned to go into seclusion to avoid dragging his granddaughter down in the future. Oh, Grandpa, I'll go and consolidate my cultivation. Lung Ruoxue nodded and walked toward the purple bamboo house. Where's little girl? Old man, who was gnawing on a spirit fruit in his hand, suddenly appeared beside Lung Qingnan and asked curiously. He clearly heard the girl's voice just now. Shuer went to cultivate. Why do you only know how to eat all day long? Lung Qingtian said with a headache. This old man wasn't like this before. Why did he seem like a different person now? I'm also doing this for cultivation. These spirit fruits are full of spiritual power, and I can't enter seclusion now, so I can only eat them. Anyway, there are so many of them on the trees that I can't finish them all, Old Man explained, implying that he shouldn't be so stingy. What Old Man said is very reasonable. Now, we can only rely on these spirit fruits to increase our spiritual power. Lin Liang also held a fruit in his hand and agreed very much. Well said. In fact, you two are just gluttons. Lung Qingtian bluntly exposed the two of them. Then he snorted and went to pick a fruit from a tree. After consolidating her cultivation, Lung Ruoxue emerged from the purple bamboo house and saw the three old men eating spirit fruits in competition. Cold sweat dripped down her forehead. Are they really that bored? Without disturbing them, Lung Ruoxue quietly left the bracelet with the little mink. Shuer, where are we going? The little silver mink asked curiously when he saw Shuer carrying him out of the wooden house. Out for a walk. Lung Ruoxue brought the little mink to the sea, sat on a boulder on the beach, and basked in the sea breeze. Oh, it feels pretty good. Ruoxue. A voice sounded from behind her. Lung Ruoxue turned around and saw Huaqing standing not far away, looking at her. Why are you here? There are many sea beasts here. I'm not afraid, Huaqing said calmly. Alas, he hadn't seen Ruoxue since he came here. Thinking of this, he couldn't help feeling a little disappointed. Oh, how's the situation with your Hua family? Lung Ruoxue asked tentatively. She had never had the chance to chat with Huaqing, so she wasn't very clear about his family's situation. But the incident could be considered to be caused by her, so she still felt somewhat guilty toward Huaqing. I'm not sure either. Some died, some were injured, and some escaped. The Hua family no longer exists, Huaqing said indifferently, his expression unreadable. Actually, I was the one who destroyed the Su family, so I'm also responsible for this matter, Lung Ruoxue said after some hesitation. I know. The Su family has always been ambitious. Even if it weren't for you, they would have dominated the entire Ling Feng continent sooner or later. You just brought this matter forward, Huaqing said calmly. In fact, he knew very well that he could not entirely blame Ruoxue for this matter. His father had been too greedy. Yes, the Su family is indeed a big problem. By the way, why were you together with Mu Li? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. These two shouldn't be related, right? I met him on the road. I was chased by those people, and he saved me, so I came with him, Huaqing explained simply. Then what are your plans for the future? We'll be leaving in a few days, Lung Ruoxue said. This was also considered informing him in advance. I don't know either. Huaqing lowered his head in disappointment. He really didn't know where he could go. Then stay with us for now. Leave after you find the Hua family, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly after thinking about it for a while. Alas, she really couldn't chase Huaqing away while he was in this state. Thank you. Huaqing raised his head happily. He had already felt out of place during the past few days he was with them. So in fact, he was already mentally prepared to leave them at any time. But he didn't expect Ruoxue to want him to stay. Even though it was only temporary, he was already very happy. He was happy, but the little mink in Lung Ruoxue's arms was unhappy. His beautiful blue eyes stared fiercely at Huaqing, wanting to glare him to death. Huaqing ignored the little mink's angry gaze and asked, Ruoxue, when are we leaving? In a week at most. The fire attribute's spiritual power here is very strong. Take advantage of these few days to absorb more of it. This opportunity is very rare, Lung Ruoxue reminded. This place was extremely suitable for fire attribute cultivators to cultivate. Yes, I've been absorbing it the whole time, Huaqing said. His greatest wish now was to increase his strength quickly, so he definitely wouldn't let go of such a good opportunity. Let's go back. I have to find the Phoenix King and talk with him, Lung Ruoxue said after looking at the time. Huaqing nodded, and the two of them walked back to the Phoenix clan's territory. I'm going to see the Phoenix King. You should go back and rest. Okay, Huaqing replied and walked toward the wooden house. Lung Ruoxue headed straight for the Phoenix King's resting palace. Master, Feng Zhan was surprised to see Leng Ruoxue looking for him again so quickly. Feng Zhan, I plan to leave the Phoenix clan in a few days. Leng Ruoxue stated her intentions clearly. What? Then what should we do? Feng Zhan was shocked. When his master was in the Dragon Clan, she said that she would be leaving in a few days. At that time, he thought that she was just scaring those dragons. He didn't expect that she was really leaving. Ooh, are we going to enter Master's Spirit Beast space? But there are no sycamore trees there, so it isn't suitable for our Phoenix clan to cultivate. Of course you have to leave with me. Do you want to stay here? Leng Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. Chapter 242, Greedy Dragon Clan, Ideological Education, 2. Master, I mean that our Phoenix clan needs sycamore trees, and there are none in the Spirit Beast space, Feng Zhan explained after a pause. That's why I came to find you. Come with me. With a thought, Leng Ruoxue entered the Heaven and Earth bracelet with Feng Zhan. Master, where is this place? The spiritual energy here is so dense. Feng Zhan looked at the beautiful scenery in front of him, and his jaw almost dropped to the ground in surprise. This is my space. You will live here from now on. As for the sycamore trees, you can move them in, Leng Ruoxue said to the slightly dazed Feng Zhan. How is it? Are you satisfied with this place? Leng Ruoxue asked when she saw that Feng Zhan didn't react for a long time. Yes, satisfied. Very satisfied. Feng Zhan hurriedly said when he came to his senses. His phoenix eyes looked around unblinkingly. But this place is too beautiful. He couldn't look away. It's good that you are satisfied. Go and tell your clan to pack up and prepare to move. Leng Ruoxue directly ordered. Master, can we eat those fruits on the trees? Feng Zhan looked at the spirit fruits hanging on the branches and almost drooled. He really didn't expect his master to have so many spirit fruits. But this is so blissful. Leng Ruoxue nodded and then warned, yes, but don't waste them. I promise we won't. Feng Zhan immediately raised a hand to assure her. His absolutely beautiful face was about to bloom with a smile. Feng Zhan, get your clan to pack up but only move a portion of them first. The others will move in when we leave, Leng Ruoxue said after some thought with a frown. Master, don't worry. They'll handle it. After settling the matter with the Phoenix clan, Leng Ruoxue brought Feng Zhan out of the bracelet and returned to the wooden house. Big brother Feng, why aren't you asleep yet? Leng Ruoxue asked curiously when she saw Feng Moran sitting in the living room. I'm waiting for you. Shuer, are we leaving the Phoenix clan? Feng Moran asked directly. Yes, we will leave after the transaction with the Dragon Emperor, Leng Ruoxue explained. Okay. Big brother Feng, just tell me what you want to say, Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. What is so difficult for you to say? Shuer, have you thought about what Grandpa said a few days ago? Feng Moran asked curiously. No, Patriarch Feng must be joking. Leng Ruoxue said honestly. The Feng family was different from Old Man. After all, Old Man had gone through thick and thin with them, so she had a higher level of trust in him. But she didn't know anyone in the Feng family well other than the two brothers, so the ally relationship was enough for her. Shuer, Grandpa wasn't joking. So please consider it if there's a chance. Feng Moran suggested. His selfish hope was that the Feng family could have a deeper relationship with Shuer. After all, there were only a few people left in the Feng family, and he couldn't watch helplessly as his only relatives fell into danger. Following Shuer was the best choice. Okay, I will consider it, Leng Ruoxue replied. She might not take other people's words seriously, but she couldn't ignore Big Brother Feng's words. After Leng Ruoxue and Feng Moran finished chatting, they returned to their respective rooms to rest. The next day, Leng Ruoxue found time to go directly to the patriarch and first elder of the Feng family. After a round of secret talks with them, she officially took the Feng family under her wing. No one even knew what the three of them talked about. After settling the matter, Leng Ruoxue brought the two of them into the Heaven and Earth bracelet. This place is... The two old men were stunned when they saw the scene in front of them. This is my space. Thorin is in that room. Go and see him. Lung Ruoxue said to the two. Oh. The two people reacted and walked toward the bamboo house that Lung Ruoxue mentioned while observing the scenery in front of them. Lung Qingyun came to his granddaughter's side and said with disapproval, Shuer, why did you bring them in? Grandpa, they are one of us now, Lung Ruoxue explained. She blocked communications with the bracelet just now, so her grandfather didn't know that she had already taken in the Feng family. One of us? Can they be trusted? Lung Qingtian was a little skeptical. Those aristocratic families had worked hard for their own families all their lives, so how could they become loyal to others so easily? Yes, they have signed a bloodline contract from the heaven-defying art, Lung Ruoxue explained. The overbearing aspect of this bloodline contract was that any descendant related to them would be bound by the contract as long as it was their bloodline, be it main or side branches. That's good. Lung Qingtian was relieved. He didn't want his granddaughter to be in any danger. At this moment, Qingju appeared in front of Lung Ruoxue and reminded, Big sister, the Phoenix King is here to see you, got it? Grandpa, I'm leaving first. After saying goodbye to Lung Qingtian, Lung Ruoxue immediately left the heaven and earth bracelet. Fengzhan, why are you here? Lung Ruoxue asked curiously. Master, we've already packed up, Fengzhan said a little impatiently. He hadn't slept for the entire night yesterday. After leaving the space, he had immediately ordered his clan to pack up. So fast. Lung Ruoxue was a little surprised. Fengzhan's work efficiency is quite high. Yes, everyone wants to move to their new home as soon as possible, Fengzhan explained. He wanted to too, but he knew that he had to stay outside for the time being. Boo. Then let's go. Lung Ruoxue smiled lightly and left the wooden house with Fengzhan. After 4 hours of work, Lung Ruoxue sent 2/3 of the Phoenix clan into the heaven and earth bracelet. Qingju, give them a place to live. Lung Ruoxue ordered in the bracelet. Don't worry, big sister. I've already arranged everything, Qingju said understandingly. He had been preparing it since his big sister accepted the Phoenix clan. Very good. Lung Ruoxue praised. She picked Qingju up and pinched his tender little face. Chapter 243, Greedy Dragon Clan, Ideological Education, 3, Big Sister. Qingju pouted his pink lips in dissatisfaction. Hee, Qingju, bring them along. Lung Ruoxue said awkwardly as she placed Qingju on the ground. Shuer, I'm very cute too. Pinch me. The little silver mink, who had a surge of jealousy, jumped into Lung Ruoxue's arms. Lung Ruoxue looked the little mink up and down and finally said very honestly, You're too thin. Pinching you isn't fun. Woo-woo. Then he'll eat until I get fatter. The little silver mink said ingratiatingly. He was going to go all out. Lung Ruoxue deliberately paused before saying with disapproval, Get fatter? Then you will become a ball like baby. Big sister, I'm not that fat. A small black furball rolled to Lung Ruoxue's feet and complained, his big blue eyes full of grievances. Yes, baby is much fatter than before, Lung Qingtian said seriously as he picked up the furball from the ground. Boo, baby isn't fat. Baby wailed aggrievedly as crystal tears rolled down his big blue eyes. Not fat, not fat. We were just joking with baby, Lung Ruoxue quickly coaxed. A few drops of cold sweat rolled down her forehead. Alas, why do all my beasts like to cry so much? Big sister is bullying baby, baby complained with tears in his eyes. Ah. Lung Ruoxue was speechless. When did I bully this little thing? Ha, Ruoxue, your beasts are all very difficult to deal with. Lin Liang laughed hysterically. These little things are really too cute. Moreover, that girl is actually being controlled by her beasts. Ha. Grandpa Lin, if you continue smiling, your saliva will drip down, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. Really? Lin Liang was a little puzzled, but he still wiped the corner of his mouth with his hand. Ha, brat Lin, who asked you to make a joke about little girl? You've been fooled now. Old man said gloatingly. Lin Liang snorted and ignored old man. But he looked at Lung Ruoxue aggrievedly. You guys continue chatting. I'm going out first. Lung Ruoxue ignored Lin Liang's bitterness and directly escaped. After leaving the bracelet, Lung Ruoxue also brought Feng Zhan out. Master, why did you bring me out? Feng Zhan asked in puzzlement. Wasn't I planting sycamore trees with the clan just now? I brought you out because it's better for you to stay outside as the king of the clan, Lung Ruoxue explained while looking at the somewhat depressed Feng Zhan. In fact, she was afraid that the dragon clan would suddenly come, so she brought Feng Zhan out. When we leave, you can stay inside for as long as you want, Lung Ruoxue added. Master, King, the dragon clan requests an audience. A guard came to report just as Lung Ruoxue finished speaking. Bring the dragon clan to the main hall first. The Phoenix King and I will be there soon. Lung Ruoxue ordered the Vermilion Bird Guard. Speak of the devil. After deliberately waiting for a while, Lung Ruoxue and Feng Zhan walked toward the main hall of the Phoenix clan. In the main hall of the Phoenix clan, the second elder was sitting alone in his chair with numerous thoughts in his mind. He kept thinking about how to talk later and how to obtain the greatest benefits for the dragon clan. So, it's second elder who has graced us with your presence. Feng Zhan entered the hall and reminded Lung Ruoxue of the old man's identity. Your Majesty, this old man greets you. The second elder stood up and bowed respectfully. The second elder looked at the beautiful woman beside Feng Zhan and asked uncertainty, You must be Miss Lung? I am Lung Ruoxue. Hello, second elder, Lung Ruoxue said very politely. Miss Lung, it's a pleasure to meet you. This old man was rude. The second elder hurriedly said and bowed again. Second elder, there's no need to be so polite. Please take a seat, Feng Zhan said with a light smile. Phoenix King, I'm here to negotiate with you on behalf of the dragon clan, the second elder said straightforwardly after they were seated. Has the dragon clan already discussed it? Feng Zhan asked knowingly. We've discussed it. We are willing to make a deal with Miss Leng, the second elder said with a smile, but he couldn't help cursing in his heart. Rubbish. What am I doing here if we didn't discuss it beforehand? Fight with you? Second elder, tell me your conditions. Lung Ruoxue asked directly without hesitation. Well, after the unanimous consent of all the elders of the dragon clan, we are willing to send 50 clan members to establish contracts with Miss Lung's subordinates. However, we request the same number of pills that can advance holy beasts, as well as pills and spirit fruits that can heal injuries, the second elder said carefully. You want them all in the same number? Lung Ruoxue frowned. This dragon clan is really greedy. They actually want so many things. If Miss Ling didn't have what we needed, we wouldn't have agreed. After all, dragons don't contract with humans, the second elder explained, but he was a little nervous. He also knew that they wanted a little too much, but it was all negotiable. Except for the pills that can advance holy beasts, there are no problems with the rest, Lung Ruoxue said indifferently. The dragon clan is really good at scheming. Using 50 clan members in exchange for 50 pills that can promote them to divine beasts, coupled with the dragons that would become my subordinate spirit beasts, the dragon clan would be equivalent to having an additional 100 divine beasts. After all, it was impossible for her to leave her subordinates' contract beasts alone. The second elder gritted his teeth and said with a troubled expression, 30 pills will do then. We won't change the rest. Except for the pills for advancement, there are no problems with the rest, Lung Ruoxue repeated coldly. It wasn't so easy to take advantage of her. I have to go back and discuss this with His Majesty and the elders. The second elder had no other choice after seeing that Lung Ruoxue was unwilling to relent. Okay, I won't see you out. Second elder, please. Lung Ruoxue said coldly. She left before the second elder even got up. Chapter 244, Greedy Dragon Clan, Ideological Education 4. Master, this dragon clan is too much. Why don't I lead some of our clan to destroy them? Feng Zhan suggested after catching up to Lung Ruoxue. There's no need. I'll let the dragon clan know that it's not so easy to take advantage of me, Lung Ruoxue said nonchalantly. If she wanted to settle it with violence, she would have done it a long time ago and wouldn't have waited until now. Moreover, she had always believed that submission of the soul was much more important than violence, so she would make the Dragon Clan regret it. Master, will the Dragon Clan agree? Feng Zhan asked uncertainly. 50 more divine beasts is better than none, so they will definitely agree, Lung Ruoxue said very confidently. This was the main reason why she dared to negotiate with the Dragon Clan. I hope the Dragon Clan is sensible. Otherwise, don't blame me for being nasty, Feng Zhan said fiercely, killing intent shining in his eyes. Feng Zhan, do you have a great enmity with the Dragon Clan? A few drops of cold sweat dripped down Lung Ruoxue's forehead. She couldn't help wondering curiously why dragons and phoenixes always wanted to fight. How should I put it? Actually, there isn't much enmity between our two races. We just don't like each other. When we meet, we have to fight each other. Otherwise, we won't feel comfortable all over. Moreover, the Phoenix Clan and the Dragon Clan also like to drag each other down, Feng Zhan explained with some embarrassment. These enmities were engraved into their bones and had been passed down generation after generation. Therefore, dragons and phoenixes had always been unable to get along peacefully. But why do I feel that your two races are a little like lovers bickering and fighting? Lung Ruoxue asked doubtfully. How is that possible? No member of the Phoenix Clan would like those stinky dragons. Feng Zhan jumped up excitedly and denied. I'm just saying casually. Calm down. There's no need to overreact, Lung Ruoxue quickly comforted. Master, those stinky dragons shouldn't be coming again today. Please let me in. Feng Zhan changed the topic awkwardly. Okay. Lung Ruoxue sent Feng Zhan into the bracelet alone but didn't follow him in. Instead, she returned to her room in the wooden house and went to sleep. Dragon Island. The second elder left the Phoenix Clan's territory and returned to Dragon Island in embarrassment. In the main hall of the Dragon Island, Long Hao and the others were waiting for news from the second elder. Second elder, how was it? Did you succeed? All the elders crowded around the second elder and bombarded him with questions as soon as he walked into the main hall. No, Lung Ruoxue didn't agree. The second elder glanced at the Dragon Emperor, who was also staring at him intently. He sighed heavily and then sat down in his chair. Humph. This Lung Ruoxue really doesn't know what's good for her. Our Dragon Clan thinks highly of her and is willing to transact with her, but she actually refused. The seventh elder roared indignantly and took the lead to launch an attack. Long Hao rolled his eyes at the seventh elder and asked directly, Second elder, what did she say? Except for the pills for advancement, there are no problems with the rest. The second elder didn't beat around the bush and directly revealed the result. She refused to give us the pills to advance? Long Hao asked again. Yes, she refused to change that one. The second elder sighed helplessly. He had tried his best. Your Majesty, since Lung Ruoxue doesn't know how to appreciate favors, why don't you let me lead people to snatch them? The seventh elder stood up from his chair and volunteered. Go on. If you don't come back, we won't go save you, Long Hao said coldly while looking at the seventh elder like he was an idiot. Snatch? If he could, he would have snatched them from Lung Ruoxue a long time ago. Why would he bother to think about making a deal with her? Facing the strange gazes of the elders, the seventh elder only felt his face burning and wanted to find a hole to burrow into. I seem to have said something stupid just now. Second elder, what do you think of this matter? Long Hao asked. After all, he was the one who handled this matter, so he should know Lung Ruoxue's attitude better than anyone else. Your Majesty, I think Lung Ruoxue's condition is far from what we expected, but it's not impossible to agree, the second elder said after some thought. In fact, he also felt that the Dragon Clan's conditions were a little too excessive. First elder, what's your opinion? Long Hao turned to the first elder, who had his eyes closed. I have no objections. Your Majesty can decide, the first elder said indifferently without even looking up. Second elder, go to the Phoenix Clan tomorrow and say that we've agreed. Bring 50 clan members there and transact directly with her, Long Hao directly ordered after hearing what the first elder said. Yes, Your Majesty. I will go and make arrangements then. The second elder didn't want to delay any longer and left immediately. Early the next morning, the second elder set off with the dragon clan members. In the wooden house in the Phoenix clan, Feng Moran stood outside Shuer's room and knocked on the door. "Hi, big brother Feng, what's the matter so early in the morning?" Leng Ruoxue asked after opening the door. "Shuer, thank you," Feng Moran said with a face full of gratitude. He knew that Shuer wouldn't have accepted the Feng family at all if not for him. "Big brother Feng, there's no need to be so polite between us," Leng Ruoxue said helplessly. She would treat anyone that she regarded as one of her own as family. "I know, but I still have to thank you." Feng Moran knew very well that Shuer had never treated him as an outsider. But he didn't know how to express his gratitude other than thanking her. "Big brother Feng, did you come to see me so early in the morning just to say thank you?" Leng Ruoxue couldn't resist teasing. "No, I'm here to tell you that a group of dragons is outside," Feng Moran quickly explained. He knew that Shuer hated it when others disturbed her sleep. "Oh Big brother Feng, you're going to have a dragon as your contract beast too." Leng Ruoxue smiled with satisfaction. It seemed like those dragons were not hopeless yet. "Shuer, I only need King Kong," Feng Moran said calmly. There were many people in the mercenary group who didn't have a divine beast yet, so how could he want a dragon? Chapter 245, Greedy Dragon Clan, Ideological Education, 5. "No one will complain about having too many divine beasts," Leng Ruoxue said knowingly. She knew that the people around her were not greedy and were very modest. So as long as it was possible, she would try her best to satisfy them. "Alright, but you have to give them to the rest first." "Give one to me only if there are any left," Feng Moran said helplessly. "Relax. There will be some left even if every one of you gets one each." Leng Ruoxue left the wooden house alone and let Feng Zhan out. "Master, the dragon clan really agreed," Feng Zhan said in surprise as he approached the main hall of the Phoenix clan and saw the giant dragons descending at the entrance. He thought that those stubborn old dragons would have died before they agreed. "The dragon clan won't suffer a loss if they exchange 50 dragons with ordinary aptitudes for the pills and spirit fruits," Leng Ruoxue said. Dragons were famous for their large appetites. Since they could exchange these dragons who had no contributions to the dragon clan for very useful pills and spirit fruits, they wouldn't have raised them for nothing. Why not do it? "Master, the aptitudes of these dragons are indeed not very good." Feng Zhan's dark red phoenix eyes gently glanced at these dragons a little angrily. "Damn dragons, do they think my master is a garbage collector? They're actually using these trash dragons to trade." Even though he had guessed long ago that it was impossible for the dragons to use the geniuses of their clan to carry out the transaction, he didn't expect them to be so rotten. Dragons were mainly divided into purple dragons, golden dragons, silver dragons, red dragons, blue dragons, and black dragons. Among them, purple dragons had the highest status and the best aptitudes. The dragon emperors basically came from the purple dragons. Then came the golden dragons, silver dragons, and red dragons. Red dragons were also commonly known as fire dragons. Blue dragons and black dragons had the lowest status and the worst aptitudes. In addition, there would occasionally be mutated dragons such as ice dragons, blood dragons, and purple gold dragons. Purple gold dragons were the deserving kings of the dragons and were born as dragon emperors. This time, the dragons were basically black and blue ones, and only 2 were fire dragons. "Aptitude isn't important," Leng Ruoxue said indifferently. She had also looked at them just now. There were approximately 30 level 9 holy beasts, and the rest were only level 7 and 8 holy beasts. "That's true." Feng Zhan nodded. With the help of his master, these dragons would absolutely become the pride of the dragon clan in the future. At the same time, those self-righteous dragons such as Long Hao would also regret it. When the 2 of them appeared in front of the dragons at the entrance of the hall lowered their heads and bowed to them in low self-esteem. Leng Ruoxue and Feng Zhan walked past the dragons and directly entered the main hall. "Miss Leng, Phoenix King," My emperor has already agreed to your conditions. I have brought the dragons with me in order to express the sincerity of our dragon clan. The sitting second elder hurriedly stood up after seeing Leng Ruoxue and the Phoenix King approaching. Thank you for your trouble, second elder. These are the things you want. They are all in here. Leng Ruoxue took out a storage ring and handed it to the second elder. The second elder took the ring and examined it with his divine sense. Then he said, Thank you, Miss Leng. I will take my leave since the transaction is over. Second elder, take care. I won't be seeing you out, Leng Ruoxue said politely. After the second elder left, Leng Ruoxue and Feng Zhan came in front of the dragons again. Raise your heads. Leng Ruoxue shouted. She didn't care about the status of these dragons in the clan. Since they belonged to her now, she would not allow them to lose their confidence and be so listless. After hearing what Leng Ruoxue said, the dragons, who were lying on the ground with their heads lowered, looked up in fear. They looked at her with tears in their eyes in fear. This female master is so fierce. Since you all belong to me now, listen carefully. I don't need cowardly and weak trash. I can give you all a chance to help you become powerhouses above all dragons. But whether you have the resolve to become powerhouses or not is not something I can decide. Leng Ruoxue's face was full of black lines as she reprimanded them. These dragons are really extraordinarily useless. I want to become a powerhouse. Master, please help me. One of the fire dragons said softly. Although it was a fire dragon, its status in the clan was inferior to even the black and blue dragons because of its poor aptitude. I will give you opportunities as long as you want to become strong. Whether you can use them well or not will depend on you, Leng Ruoxue promised. She knew that it would be difficult to change the mindset of these dragons in a short period of time. But it was fine as long as there was a dragon willing to take the lead. Eat this. Leng Ruoxue directly took out a remolding pill and threw it into the fire dragon's open mouth. What did Master give me? The fire dragon was very curious, but, after a while, the fire dragon rolled on the ground in pain. Not long later, a lot of grayish-black impurities discharged from its body. Wow, stinks. Feng Zhan covered his nose. They are really stinky dragons. I really don't know what they eat every day. Ooh, my main hall. He suddenly remembered that he was near the main hall. Master. Feng Zhan looked at Leng Ruoxue aggrievedly. His main hall was ruined by this stinky dragon. Ooh, we're leaving soon. Leng Ruoxue glanced at Feng Zhan and reminded him. Ah, that's true. Feng Zhan thought about it and reckoned that they wouldn't return again in the future. Master. The fire dragon had completed its remolding and was kneeling respectfully in front of Leng Ruoxue. How do you feel? Leng Ruoxue asked. Very good, the fire dragon said gratefully and stretched its body. After eating the pill given by their master, it could clearly feel that the speed it absorbed spiritual power had increased significantly, albeit it was very painful at first. Feng Zhan, go find my brother, Leng Ruoxue said to Feng Zhan beside her and sent him directly back into the bracelet. Master, got him. Feng Zhan sent a voice transmission to Leng Ruoxue after a while. With a thought, the two of them appeared in front of the dragons. Shuer, why are you looking for me? Leng Ruhen asked with a puzzled expression as soon as he emerged. Big brother, contract with it first. Leng Ruoxue pointed at the fire dragon. Chapter 246, Greedy Dragon Clan, Ideological Education, 6, okay. It was only then that Leng Ruhen realized that there were dragons all around him. Moreover, each of them had their eyes wide open and were looking at him curiously. Fire Dragon, enter into a soul contract with my brother. Leng Ruoxue ordered. Yes, master. The Fire Dragon obediently chanted the soul contract. Immediately afterward, the contract array descended, and the contract was formally established. Then the Fire Dragon bowed respectfully to Leng Ruhen and said very politely, Master, please take care of me. Please take care of me too, Leng Ruhen said quickly. Eat this too. Leng Ruoxue threw a green spirit pill into the fire dragon's mouth. What's this? The fire dragon's big eyes looked around, but there was no reaction. I'm going to advance. The fire dragon suddenly screamed excitedly half an hour later. Immediately after, heaven and earth laws descended, and this fire dragon officially advanced to divine beast. Lung Ruhan also advanced 2 stages in a row and became a peak spiritual sovereign because of the advancement of his spirit beast. Schwer, I advanced too? Lung Ruhan asked in disbelief as he looked at his cultivation rapidly progressing as though he was sitting on a rocket. He had been eating spirit fruits non-stop in the space and cultivating day and night, but he had only advanced 1 stage. He didn't expect his spirit beast's advancement to allow him to advance 2 stages in a row. It was too unbelievable. Big brother, it's because it advanced to divine beast. Lung Ruoxue reminded. How could advancing to divine beast be compared to an ordinary advancement? Big brother, consolidate your cultivation first. It'll give you a heavenly essence pill in a few days, Lung Ruoxue continued. Yes, there's no rush. Master, I've become a divine beast? After the advancement, the fire dragon, who had been in a daze, came back to its senses, and its huge dragon head leaned in uncertainty. Dragons were born as holy beasts, but it had cultivated for a long time but was unable to advance to divine beast because of its poor aptitude. It didn't expect that it would suddenly become a divine beast with its master's help. This was too magical. You've become a divine beast, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. At the same time, she sent her brother and the fire dragon into the bracelet. She would let her brother explain the rest to the dragon. Master, I want to become a powerhouse too. Master, me too. Now that they saw the living example, the dragons were eager and began to rush to show Lung Ruoxue their determination. Lung Ruoxue looked at the excited dragons and nodded in satisfaction. That's right. How could dragons be more cowardly than a mouse? You have to remember that you have to grasp opportunities for yourself. You create power and status yourself. The status you were born with doesn't determine everything. Sooner or later, the other dragons will look up to you, Lung Ruoxue encouraged. Yes, Master. We want to become powerhouses that all dragons look up to. Master, please help us. The dragons said in unison. They were totally different compared to the trashy dragons they were just now. Open your mouths, Lung Ruoxue ordered and threw remolding pills directly into the mouths of all the dragons. After a while, all the dragons completed their remolding, and their mental outlook had been changed beyond recognition. They had truly been reborn. After the remolding, Lung Ruoxue moved everyone out of the bracelet. Choose any one of them you want to contract. Lung Ruoxue said to everyone. Little girl, I won't hold back then. Old man said excitedly. Dragons? They were the best spirit beasts on the Ling Feng continent and were equally as famous as phoenixes. You're welcome. Pick one quickly. Lung Ruoxue urged. Then he'll choose first. Old man looked around, circled the dragons a few times, and finally chose a level 9 blue dragon. Little girl, I want this one, Old man said with shining eyes. This blue dragon was the most beautiful among them. Its deep blue scales were like the most beautiful sapphires, emitting a mesmerizing glow. And its big watery eyes were looking at its new master shyly. Lung Qingtian also took a long time to pick before finally choosing a black dragon, who was also a level 9 holy beast. The black dragon was tall and mighty, and its pitch-black scales glittered in the sunlight. Schwer, Grandpa wants this one. Lung Qingtian looked at his beast with satisfaction, his love evident. Lin Liang also chose a black dragon. After picking it, he took the initiative to give up his spot and found a corner to cultivate their feelings. Patriarch Feng, First Elder, why don't you choose? Lung Ruoxue asked in puzzlement. She could understand why the mercenary group didn't move. After all, her grandfather and the others were both seniors and powerhouses, so they should choose first. But these 2 old men didn't move at all. We have a share too? The First Elder asked. Everyone has a share, Lung Ruoxue said helplessly. She really didn't know what these 2 old men were thinking. Then I want this one. The First Elder hurriedly pointed at the blue dragon he had been eyeing since long ago. In fact, as much as he wanted a dragon, he knew he had joined later, so he didn't pick one. But he had chosen one long ago, and he had been thinking of asking for it from the girl when he had made some contributions in the future. Feng Jing pretty much had the same idea. I want this one then. Feng Jing pointed at a black dragon unabashedly. Lin Yuan, go and choose as well. Leng Ruoxue said to the mercenaries who had been watching eagerly. After hearing what Leng Ruoxue said, everyone went forward and chose a dragon they liked without caring about the level of the dragon. Leng Ruoxue was speechless as she looked at the remaining dragons. 38 were chosen out of the 50 dragons, and 8 of the remaining 12 were actually level 9 holy beasts. Master, what should we do? The other fire dragon, who wasn't picked, asked gloomily. Boo! Am I so unpopular? No one wanted me. Chapter 247. And it's a bird that curses? 1. Feng Zhan, go invite Big Brother Feng and Huqing. Leng Ruoxue said to Feng Zhan after some thought. Okay, Feng Zhan replied and immediately went to the wooden house to look for them. Grandpa, I'll send you back to the space first. Leng Ruoxue sent everyone and their chosen partners back into the bracelet. Ruoxue, why are you looking for us? Huqing, who was cultivating, asked curiously after arriving. Big Brother Feng, Huqing, choose one each to contract. Leng Ruoxue directly said. Huqing was stunned and speechless. There were so many dragons. He didn't even notice them just now. Swear, I want this one. Feng Moran picked a blue dragon. Leng Ruoxue nodded and then said to the depressed fire dragon, okay. Hey, big guy, how about you acknowledge him as your master? You're red and he likes red. You two are the most compatible. The fire dragon raised its head, and its big watery eyes examined Huqing for a long time. Finally, it nodded, satisfied with this handsome man in red. After making up its mind, the fire dragon took the initiative to enter a soul contract. As the contract array descended, the human and dragon officially became partners. Ruoxue, Huqing felt the mental connection with the fire dragon and didn't know what to say. This favor was too much. Huqing, you don't have to say anything. Just treat it well, Leng Ruoxue said directly while looking at the fire dragon. She had always done things based on her mood and didn't need the gratitude of others. I will. Thank you, Huqing said touched. His big hand gently caressed the fire dragon's scales with complex feelings. Meanwhile, Feng Moran also completed the contract with the blue dragon he chose. Give a green spirit pill to your dragons. Leng Ruoxue handed each of them a green pill. The two of them put the pill in their dragons' mouths and waited quietly. After a while, heaven and earth laws arrived as expected. The two dragons that were level 9 holy beasts officially advanced and became divine beasts. Master! The two beasts transformed into human form and attached themselves to their new master. They were much calmer and were used to it because the other fire dragon had advanced in front of them. They were only very excited. I'm going to advance too, Feng Moran and Huqing said almost simultaneously. With the benefits from the advancement of their beasts, the two of them advanced as expected. After that, their strengths soared to peak spiritual sovereign, and they were only one step away from becoming spiritual supremacies. When Huqing and Feng Moran were advancing, the two beasts came to Leng Ruoxue, bowed deeply, and said with gratitude, "Thank you for giving us a chance, Master." Even though they were not Leng Ruoxue's contract beasts, she was still the one who had given them a new life. In their hearts, she was also their master and someone they respected. Leng Ruoxue looked at the man and woman in front of her in surprise. She didn't expect the fire dragon to be a female. After transforming into human form, she was actually a hot and sexy great beauty. As long as you have confidence, you will all become the pride of the dragons, Leng Ruoxue said knowingly. Swear. Ruoxue. At this moment, two surprised voices sounded at the same time. Feng Moran and Huqing stood in front of Leng Ruoxue excitedly. Not bad. You're just one step away from becoming spiritual supremacies, Leng Ruoxue said with satisfaction after looking at their strength. It was not easy to advance to spiritual supremacy, but she had heavenly essence pills, so it was only a matter of time before they became spiritual supremacies. But it's very difficult for a peak spiritual sovereign to advance to spiritual supremacy, Huaqing said calmly and sighed. This is for you. When you're ready, you can advance to spiritual supremacy directly. Lung Ruoxue took out 2 heavenly essence pills and handed one to each of them. What pill is this? Huaqing looked at the milky white pill in his hand in puzzlement. They are called heavenly essence pills. Peak spiritual sovereigns can use them to advance to spiritual supremacy, Lung Ruoxue explained simply. There's actually a pill that can advance people to spiritual supremacy? Huaqing was surprised. This was too magical. After all, he had never heard of this heavenly essence pill. There are too many types of pills, and it's impossible to know all of them. Moreover, heaven essence pills aren't easy to concoct, so it's normal that no one knows, Lung Ruoxue said lightly. In fact, the difficulty of concocting heaven essence pills did not lie in the level of the pill but the materials needed. That's true, Huaqing said after some thought. Go back to your rooms and consolidate your cultivation. Lung Ruoxue reminded them when she saw that they were still standing there foolishly. Okay, Shuer, we're going back. Feng Moran said and left with Huaqing. You don't have to rush. They'll find masters for you. Lung Ruoxue looked at the masterless dragons, who were looking at her with tears in their eyes, with a slight headache. After speaking, Lung Ruoxue sent the remaining 10 dragons into the bracelet and left the Phoenix clan's territory with Feng Zhan. Master, where are we going? Feng Zhan asked curiously. Contract and advance for others, Lung Ruoxue said while leading Feng Zhan to the uninhabited valley where she had advanced. Upon reaching the valley, Lung Ruoxue moved everyone and their beasts out of the bracelet. Grandpa, contract and advance here. Lung Ruoxue said to everyone. Okay. As soon as Lung Ruoxue finished speaking, the dragons took the initiative to enter soul contracts. After they established the contracts, Lung Ruoxue distributed green spirit pills to the people with a level 9 dragon holy beast. Not long after they took the green spirit pills, heaven and earth laws descended, and all the level 9 holy dragons who had entered contracts all advanced to become divine beasts. Their masters also all advanced by the merits of their beasts. Miss, I've advanced to spiritual sovereign. Lin Yuan ran to Lung Ruoxue happily with excitement all over his face. He was a spiritual sovereign now. He didn't even dare to think about it before. Chapter 248, and it's a bird that curses, 2. Miss, we are also spiritual sovereigns. Lu Tao and Cui Zhu squeezed past Lin Yuan and spoke in unison. They were really too happy. Not bad. You're actually advanced spiritual sovereigns now. Lung Xuan nodded in satisfaction. It seemed like they had been working hard on their cultivation. Lung Ruoxue's gaze turned to the other members of the mercenary group. Well, not bad. Their strength after advancing is higher than I expected. They're all spiritual sovereigns. She was very satisfied with this result. Shuer, Grandpa also advanced. Lung Qingtian complained, unwilling to be ignored by his precious granddaughter. Congratulations, Grandpa, Lung Ruoxue coaxed helplessly. Grandpa is really becoming more and more competitive. Miss, I didn't advance, Feng De said aggrievedly from the side, looking like he was about to cry. Captain, go away. We were also envious when you advanced, Lin Yuan mocked unrestrainedly with a smile. Feng De, they didn't advance either. Lung Ruoxue pointed at the few people who didn't advance. That's right. Captain, we don't have a divine beast yet. One of them said very cooperatively. But he was not worried at all because the advancement would happen sooner or later. Feng De was speechless. You will have one sooner or later, okay? Seeing Feng De's deflated appearance, everyone present couldn't resist laughing out loud. Feng Zhan, let's leave this place tomorrow. Lung Ruoxue turned to Feng Zhan after sending everyone back to her space. She had already done what she wanted to do, and there was no need to stay any longer. Master, we've already packed up, Feng Zhan said excitedly. After they returned to the Phoenix clan, Lung Ruoxue headed straight for her residence. After returning to the wooden house, Lung Ruoxue went to her room to catch up on her sleep. When she woke up, she went directly to Feng Moran and Hua Qing to inform them that they were leaving tomorrow. As for the elusive Mu Li, she searched for him several times but couldn't find him. Little Mink, where did Mu Li go? Do you know? In her room, Lung Ruoxue moved the silver mink out of the space and hugged him in her arms. Schwer, don't worry about him. He won't be lost, the little silver mink said nonchalantly. But we're leaving tomorrow, Lung Ruoxue said to the little mink. Okay. The little silver mink nodded his fluffy head to show that he knew. Schwer, where are we going after we leave? The little silver mink looked up at Lung Ruoxue with his blue eyes curiously. I don't know. Lung Ruoxue really hadn't thought about where she should go after leaving, but she should find those spiritual deities to settle the score first. She didn't know what had become of the Ling Feng continent as well. Aren't we going home? The little silver mink asked. Not yet. She hadn't even taken her revenge, and it wasn't safe to go home now. Oh. It seems like Schwer is planning to seek revenge directly. The silver mink pondered. With Schwer's current strength, it should be easy to deal with those spiritual deities. So he wasn't worried at all. The next morning, Lung Ruoxue moved her grandfather and the others out of the bracelet and asked them to leave the Phoenix clan's territory together with Hua Qing. She and Feng Zhan then helped the other members of the Phoenix clan move. At the entrance to Grief Remedy Forest. Grandpa Lung, why isn't Ruoxue here yet? Hua Qing couldn't help asking worriedly. It had been so long. What important matter did Ruoxue have? Don't be hasty. Wait a while more, Lung Qingtian said helplessly. Even though he, her grandfather, wasn't anxious, this kid was anxious for her. Hua Qing, it hasn't been long. Don't worry, Feng Moran comforted. Of course, he knew where Schwer had gone, but he couldn't tell Hua Qing. After waiting for another 2 hours, Lung Ruoxue's figure appeared on the sea. Ruoxue is here. Lin Liang was the first to spot her. They saw Lung Ruoxue carrying the little silver mink, and on her shoulders stood a small and exquisite fire phoenix. She was lying leisurely on the broad back of a black eagle. Little girl, you sure know how to enjoy life. Old Man teased her as soon as Quill landed. Old Man, you enjoy it more than I do. Lung Ruoxue glanced at the old man lightly. Let's go. Lung Qingtian interrupted them. After hearing what Lung Qingtian said, everyone took out their dragons together, jumped onto their respective dragons' back, and flew directly over Grief Remedy Forest. Flying away from this lousy place feels really good. Lin Liang sighed with emotion. When they first came, they wouldn't have dared to fly even if they had divine beasts. Yes, except for phoenixes and dragons, other divine beasts are nothing to those poisonous creatures. They are classic examples of bullying the weak and fearing the strong, Old Man echoed. Master, most of those poisonous creatures don't have any intelligence, so their behavior is just instinct. Dragons and phoenixes are among the top existences of the beast races, so they are afraid, Old Man's dragon explained. Old Man nodded and turned his head to ask, Oh right, little girl, where are we going? Grandpa, what do you think? Lung Ruoxue asked her grandfather directly. Let's go to the nearest city and understand the situation of the entire continent first, Lung Qingtian said after some thought. Okay, let's go. Lung Ruoxue ordered, and the 7 dragons and 1 black eagle brought them to the nearest city. Wait, Lung Qingtian suddenly said. What's the matter, Grandpa? Lung Ruoxue was puzzled. Why did Grandpa suddenly ask us to stop? Schwer, there seems to be fighting over there. Lung Qingtian frowned and pricked up his ears to listen carefully. Let's go take a look. Lung Ruoxue said, but she was thinking, why is Grandpa meddling in other people's affairs? This isn't his style. They only realized it was someone they knew when they rushed to the location of the fight. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.